let's talk about what we're doing today because y'all, this is so flippin' cute. Let's go ahead and go overhead.
Okay. There you go. That's perfect. Beautiful. And like, do it so they can catch that shine.
How's that?
That looks so good.
Yes, so this HTV, this is the gold. This is not the true gold though. I think this is like the, no, this is not their, they have an even more yellow gold than this.
Oh, then I grabbed the wrong one. I didn't think I thought we only had bronze and then that color.
It is. I'm saying online, they have a more yellow gold.
Okay, I got you.
This is the one that I wanted.
Yes, I love it.
This is the one that I wanted.
It's so pretty.
It should be linked down below. Product number, Frank, I don't have it.
There's a link for you guys.
But there is a link down below. Hands down, one of my favorite vinyls to use. Now, these you can get Amazon. You can get them from wholesalers. These are just little jewelry cases. This project today is truly, and I have been saying this for so long that we need to do this because this is such a sellable craft. Y'all, these are so easy to do, but so like give you such a good payout. So anyway, you're gonna need this. Once again, link down below, these jewelry boxes. You can get them in literally any color you want. That's why I love them, is because you can truly customize these. A lot of people purchase these to put in like bridesmaids boxes.
Yes, I think that's what it's perfect for, honestly.
Yes.
Because you know, you always, like a lot of people gift bridesmaids jewelry on their wedding day and then they can keep like their other jewelry in the box, and I just love it. So
Kelly asked, will this work with Cricut foil? If you're talking about the foil sheets, that the Cricut has to like use the adaptive tool to foil, then no, because you can't put this through for the Cricut foil. Right. Now, if they have a foil HTV, then this would be fine.
Yes.
So anyway.
I'm wondering if, I don't think electrofoil would work here.
No, I don't think electrofoil is going to give you the results you want for this one either.
Yeah.
I think it just needs to be HTV.
Yeah.
Like foil HTV.
It just looks good. Don't fix it if it ain't broken. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So you're gonna need your blank, you're gonna need your foil HTV. We're using a standard grip mat today, and then of course we're using our Cricut Mini Easy Press.
Beautiful.
That's it. Y'all, even if you don't have foil HTV, you can do, like this is a pleather jewelry box that it's kind of cushioned. You can do this with regular vinyl if you don't want the foil or you don't want to purchase the foil. You can do it with so many different things. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and in just a second, we're gonna hop over to Design Space and we are going to start the process because y'all, it's so hard.
Hardest project ever.
Hardest project ever.
Just kidding.
JK.
This is the easy one.
Here we go. In Design Space, this is what we're doing. We are doing initials. So the font that we're going to be using today, we'll go back to Maker's Gonna Learn. We're going to be using Manifest today. Manifest is one of my favorite new fonts that we have. I don't know, I just wrote, is it new? Is it not new? Is it not
what,
new?
the font?
Manifest.
What is it?
Manifest.
I think it is newish.
This is not a rose gold. Rose gold would be very pretty. This is more of a regular stain, like a brush, like a white gold. Anyway, so we are going to be using Manifest today. This is the font that we're using.
We have lots of good serif fonts that you all can use for this project. And honestly, even a pretty script with a full name. Listen, y'all cannot be all up in the Facebook group using 2 script capital letters for this project, okay?
Yeah, okay. So
just tell them the rules, Lauren.
Let's talk about some rules real quick. First rule, we're gonna go back to our main screen of fonts, okay? First rule of finding the font that works the best is typing in your initials, okay? And with the Maker's Gonna Learn website, you don't have to download every single one of these fonts to see which one looks the best. So I'm gonna do one for myself today. The other one was for Alicia. This one is for me. So we're gonna type in LM, and I'm going both capital by the way. We're gonna type in preview. So now I can scroll down typeset. If I was going for a typewriter font, really like that one. Eden, y'all, first of all, can we, I don't know if we can zoom in. Look.
Control plus.
Got it. Do y'all see this? These are little flowers. That's going to be a no dog.
No dog.
No dog. We're not doing that. Okay? Oregon, definitely giving me Oregon Trail vibes. Once again, like, these would be fine. We're getting a little
hairy.
A little hairy with this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan. I don't know.
Ooh.
Violetta. I might have to do
gorgeous.
Violetta.
Yeah.
Because that's beautiful. This is beautiful.
The only thing that would make me not pick that is where it's thin, but you can show them how to thicken it.
Which I thickened yours, the one that I did for you.
You about have to with any of those.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Now, Celine, questionable. Celine is a great one if you want to go up, and I'm going to zoom out some more. Celine is a great one if you wanted to do just a name.
Yes.
You can see how we, like, these kind of fall short when you're doing just a full name, but Celine,
looks good. Right.
Beautiful.
So full name with script is a good. Initials with script, not a good.
Not a good. Full name, or if you're doing one letter and it's a very, very like, very good, a very busy script font.
Yes.
One letter is all you need.
Right.
A serif or like a block font, you can get by with 2 or possibly even 3 initials. A good script with a big first letter and smaller letters at the end is great for a full name.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are just the rules that we're going to be going with today. That's what I have found best. Look, La Vida, no ma'am. That looks terrible.
That font gives me Topo Chico vibe.
It is for sure Topo Chico.
Just not great
actually,
for this
there
project.
is one that is a true Topo Chico.
Oh, really?
That one's just giving me Cantina vibes.
Cantina.
Yeah, like it makes me want to go eat some chips and salsa and have a margarita.
But when don't we want to go have chips and salsa and a marg?
That's a never. I always do. I'm always down to clown. Savannah is a X negative. It's a very cute font. For this project, it's a no. And you all know how much I love like sunny days and Saturday night. This is a no.
Unless you did one, that would be a good one letter.
This would be a really good one letter for like the letter M. Also,
Liz.
Some fonts I hate the letter L in. Some I like.
L's are weird. L's are weird.
L's
Liz
are weird.
says didn't know there were rules. Liz.
Absolutely, there's rules.
There's a lot of rules. I don't know if we'll call them unspoken. Lauren and Alicia made them rules.
Yeah.
These are
Unspoken
rules.
Lauren and Alicia rules. Sorry,
I don't know.
guys.
I went to school for design a way long time ago. And also these are just things that I've picked up. But you can definitely tell a difference in the quality of a design with like people that will use these rules and people that don't. I think there's a significant difference.
Yes,
I just
there
think
is.
if you follow these rules, then it'll be like, it'll look profesh. You know, we want to look professional.
Absolutely.
We don't want people to ask us if we made it. We want to ask them where they bought it from.
We do not want someone to say where or who made.
Did you make that?
Did you make that? Did you make that? Like, did you create that? We want people to say, oh my gosh, where did you buy that?
Yes, always. That
And
is
that's when you're like, oh, I made that.
Yes.
That's when you break out the, it's no big deal. I just made it.
That's the real compliment.
That's the compliment when someone says, did you make that? That's it. That right there tells you I've got some work to do.
It looks homemade.
It looks homemade. And I'm not saying that those projects don't look, those projects are so special. Even those projects hold so much room in my heart for those projects. But if you're on the path to sell, it needs to be like, where did you buy that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Love it.
Manifest what we're going with.
Okay.
And you know what? I don't even have to download it. But if you wanted to download a font, what you would do is you are going to, and we'll do Violetta, because I know Violetta's not on this computer. Are we on the share screen?
Yes.
Okay. You hit the arrow pointing down.
Okay.
It's going to pop up here. Double click. Open it up. Double click again. Install font. You would then have to re-upload Design Space. I'm not going to do that today, but you will reload Design Space and that's where it will come back in. Okay? So first thing I want to do is I want to grab a shape, and I want to do this little square with the rounded corners. Now it does come in as a 2 by 2 inch square. So what we are going to do is we're going to pop back overhead.
Okay.
And we are going to measure our blank. We are looking at about, I mean, it's not 4 inches by 4 inches, but that's what we're going to go with because it's pretty close enough. So we're just going to come up here to the top, back in our share screen, 4 by 4, and then we're going to grab our text. Let me just go ahead and delete these. We're going to grab our text. We're going to our font. We are using font Manifest, not Mainfest. We want Manifest.
Manifest.
So now that we're here, we're just going to be typing in our initials. So if you want to put periods in between, you can. I actually hated the looks of the periods between these for some reason. I just felt like it cheapened it.
Yeah, it doesn't need it.
It cheapened it. I don't know. So anyway, we are not, you can decide if you want to or you don't want to. So we're going to do not, and then we're going to place, let's change the color. We'll just do a yellow, that way we can see it a little more. And I'll zoom in, and I'm going to teach you guys, if you use Manifest, number 1, let's talk about how thin that is.
She's thin.
That ain't going to work. Right. Will not work. So what we're going to do, because we love the style of this font, okay, but we do want it to be a little bit thicker because, like I said, those guys right there are way too thin. What we love to do here is go up here to offset. We're going to create a very small offset, okay? Now for this one, it's going to be like a 0.02 possibly. Let's see what that looks like.
It's hard to tell.
I know. You know, I'm going to zoom way in, and then we're going to go to, can I zoom in one more? Oh, 400%. Look at that, guys. We good now. Offset. Do you see how big this is now?
Oh, yeah.
Look at
that. Yeah, move
now,
the green.
There we go. Okay. Select, offset. Whoa. That's way too big. 0.2. 0.3. 0.2. Let's go back down to 0.2. Grr.
Hit tab. Design space. What are you doing? Sometimes it just do be doing this.
And then it goes to 0. Like, I literally can't. 0.2.
Cancel it and redo it. Sometimes it does this to me and gets on my nerves so bad.
What if I zoom out a little bit?
It shouldn't matter. You should be able to just go back in there and do it. Just hit offset and do 0.2.
Zero 0.5? Okay.
It should let you do 0.2.
0.4? 0.3? It's letting me get to 0.3. Oh, there it goes. It got down to 0.2.
Who knows? Who knows?
So, at this point, now that we're finally here,
We made it.
we're going to hit apply. Now what I can do is I can pull off this, and you see this black, how much thicker it is, but it still has the integrity of this font. Mm-hmm. That is exactly what we were wanting to go for. If you want to keep the integrity of the font, but you want it to be thicker, you can do that. And let's go back to offset. I'm just curious to see what sharp corners on this font looks like.
Yeah, because it is a clean-edged font.
So now that I've done that, you can choose if you want soft corners or sharp corners.
Oh.
I'm digging the sharp corners personally.
Yeah, me too.
So if you guys did not know, once again, this is part of design. Design space, you can pick what we like to call soft corners or like rounded corners, or you can choose hard corners or like corners that come to a point on your offset. Mm-hmm. So let's go back to design space. What you're going to do is you're going to come to offset, and here you can choose your corners, whether you like a soft rounded corner or you like a sharp corner, okay? Now, look over here. The top one, here is our, first of all, here's what the font started off with. And if you zoom in, you can see that it kind of has sharp corners anyway. So that's why I wanted to look at both of them. Here it has rounded corners, and I can see like even the L, it rounded that corner on the L, and I don't necessarily want that.
It almost looks blurred.
It does almost look blurred. So with this one specifically, you would need to choose sharp edges, sharp corners. I think it just looks so much better.
Yes.
So now that we've done that, we're going to delete this offset, and actually you can either hide or delete. My advice is if you're wanting to sell these to make this process so much faster, what you can do is come up here to your text and just hide that. That way you're only left with the offset, and when you want to come in, let's say you get an order in and somebody wants to order 10 of these, all you have to do is unhide this, type in all of your initials, put an offset on them, and you're good to go.
Yes.
Like, it's super easy. You don't have to go back in there and add that text box again. You can just hide and unhide. So now that we have it sized where we want it, now keep in mind when you put an offset on it, it's gonna make it a little bit bigger. It shouldn't make it too much bigger, but it is gonna make it a little bit bigger. So I'm just gonna size that down just a hair. Make sure it looks good, and then I'm going to hide this square, and we're gonna go to make it. First of all, we are working with heat transfer vinyl, so I did mirror. We're gonna go to continue. We are using our Explore 3 today, and we're just cutting this on everyday iron-on, regular pressure.
Okay.
And heat press on to 2.
Beautiful. Oh, here, let me go over here.
2.
Second setting.
2, 2, 2.
Okay.
Look how fast.
Quick. And listen, these boxes are going to be so good to sell in bulk. Like, it's not likely that people are just going to order one. They're going to order a bunch for their bridesmaids, or that. Like, that's how I would market them. And you could put bridesmaids on it, but like if you put their initials on it, they can use it way after. And not only that, but you all can take photos of, like, if you got each of the colors, like if you got a black one, a green one, a white one, take a photo as your mock-up, and then you can actually, like in Canva, you can put the text option. So if you wanted to do like a script option using their last name or something, or their first name, you could like give them mock-ups of what it would look like so they can kind of see before they buy.
Yep.
So anyways, I think that would be a good thing if you're selling a bunch of them.
Tara says that she has an Android, and her update was the same day that we did that.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And honestly, looking at it, it's a little bigger than I probably would have liked it. Heat setting of 2. You know what? If you want to cover this, you can. I don't think I did. I'm not going to. You do have to be careful, though.
Yeah, if you're unsure, just iron on the bottom.
And do you all see how I'm just coming in with the tip of the iron and just kind of like doing it right around the area? You don't want to like put your iron down on this.
Yeah.
You don't want to melt it. We're just, because it does not take a lot.
This is why we love the Cricut Mini Easy Press so much.
And I'm pretty sure this is a cool peel, because that one side started coming up, tried to come up a little bit. So I'm just gonna let that bad boy cool down. Oh yeah, for sure a cool peel. Do y'all see what it did on this side?
Yes.
Because I tried to peel it while it was warm. So this is a cool peel.
Dang.
But look at that.
She looks good.
Dang Joe Dirt.
Dang Joe Dirt.
I'm super excited for this project. Actually, this project has been one we've had done for
a hot minute.
Months.
Yeah, it's been done, and like
since before summer started.
I think you just finished it early because like I don't think we rescheduled it. I think you just got it done, and then we were like, okay, on to the next thing. But it's so cute.
Yes.
So cute.
And we're going to be learning how to use our Cricut to cut bonded felt. If you've never cut felt before, this is going to be one that you can cut with your Explore series or with a maker series. So because we are going to be bonding the felt first, so we don't have to use a rotary blade for this. And then I'm going to be teaching you a very easy, it's kind of more like an embroidery detail.
Yeah.
Like it's not really even something that you have to do. Like if you're not comfortable with it, like
it's cute without the embroidery
Yes.
part to it, but it's like up a notch with the embroidery.
oh, like takes it from here to here kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's still really cute though.
Yeah, so I'm going to be teaching you how to bond your felt to cut it. A little quick tip on how to save your mats from felt.
I love this tip for any fabric that, like leather, we've done it with leather. Felt in particular though is in terry cloth.
Yes.
With our Stony Clover letters.
Yes. And then also I'm going to be showing you what to do, because if you've ever embroidered before, you know that embroidering on like t-shirt material, 100% cotton, or not a canvas or thick material, can be tough. So I'm gonna be showing you how to add a backer to your material so that you can easily embroider on t-shirts and things like that. So super excited about that. Also, while doing my research and getting prepped and recognize, getting ready for this, refreshing myself on this project.
Yeah.
Which you guys know, we are research queens here in the office. Research
We can't even control ourselves.
makes
honestly.
my heart happy.
Yeah.
I did not know that Cricut, because we don't have one in this office.
No, we do not.
Do not have one. And it is a marketing ploy. It is very good marketing on Cricut's part.
Yeah.
It
And
is
honestly,
very
in
good
my
marketing.
brain, I'm like, you have persuaded me. Well, just tell them what it is.
Okay.
So they can know.
Cricut has a bonded fabric blade.
Okay.
Let that sink in. A bonded fabric blade. And when you look on their website, do you want to know what the only difference is?
Tell us.
It's pink to match your pink
fabric
fabric
mat.
mat. It is literally a fine point 45-degree angle blade that's pink. That matches your pink fabric grip mat.
But now, if you're a sewer, then I know that you have your special sewing scissors. No one's allowed to touch, and I think that's the concept.
Oh,
that
that's
they're going off
100%
of.
the concept. I don't know what the price point is. Is there a difference in price point? So listen, we have fabric scissors. That is if you are, which I know all of you all are crafters. That is the big you don't do that. You don't use your paper scissors to cut fabric. You don't use your fabric scissors to cut paper.
It's the rule.
They're separate.
It's the rule.
It is the cardinal rule. You don't do that. So I 100% get where it's coming from.
I'm trying to find. It's $34.99 to get a bonded fabric blade and housing. What about
Housing? It's the same housing as your fine point blade.
Not according to Cricut.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, if anybody here has or have used a bonded fabric blade, aka a pink fine point blade, please let me know, because I would like to know. I don't see that. It doesn't look different, so I don't think there would be a different housing.
I can put a piece of colored strip around my fine point blade, and have two fine point blades.
Yeah. So basically, what it said, the research I did, it said that the bonded fabric blade is pink to match your pink fabric grip mat, so that you do not get them confused.
I mean, it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing.
Maybe. So, y'all, I mean,
so cute.
I love
think
it.
that's so stinking cute.
So let's go overhead, and so you can we can show you guys. So this is what we are going to be making today. Y'all, this is so easy, and you could make these and sell them so quick.
Oh yeah.
This is the kind of the muted tones. I'm obsessed.
Yeah, it's very, very cute.
I mean,
the colors.
How much would you have paid for one of these for Rubes?
Probably I don't know. I don't want to lowball it. Okay, 8.
Okay, let's think. Let's go back to number 1. Let's think. Somebody, if you were not a crafter and you really wanted, you could do custom colors on your felts. You could have someone, because all this is you literally type out a name.
Yeah.
In Cricut.
Yeah.
I think
I would probably spend $20.
$25.
$20, yeah.
I think I bought this pack of onesie. It was like a pack of 3 on Amazon for like $10 maybe.
Yeah, very inexpensive to get the onesies.
So these would be a really good turnaround. You can literally, if you all have never tried embroidery, this is a great start for embroidery. Now, let me just say it is a great stitch. The stitch that I'm going to be showing you guys today, the stitch. So we've got somebody that says 15, someone says 35. I think 25 is a good medium.
Yeah, and it's going to depend on your demographic too.
Yeah, and
because
really,
some people will in your area, unless you're selling on Etsy to like the world.
Yeah.
You know, if you're selling local, you need to see what your people want to spend on it, really.
So this is what I'm getting at is the stitch that I'm going to be teaching you guys today is the basic like main stitch if you've never started embroidery. That is great. However, the fabric is one that you may want to start and try your hand at embroidery on a canvas fabric first. But we are going to be adding a stabilizer to this, which helps tremendously. So we're going to get into that. But now here is one. I have it on the hoop. I've just started 2 stitches. So we'll go overhead with this one. Here is one if you didn't want to add the embroidery to it. You could just straight up, and it's still super cute this way.
Like I think so.
You can still do this. Now, you wouldn't be able to charge $25 for this one. This one is probably more of a $15 one.
Right, because the embroidery is what takes so long.
The embroidery is what takes time, and the embroidery is the part that you are going to charge the most for.
Yeah.
So if you added the extra embroidery stitch, then you're going to charge more for this one than you would this one. So, I mean, there are 2 different options, but you can get different color of the onesies, do different color felt. This is just the one I was feeling right now. You can always do a different color stitch throughout. You can do one that has more of a pop, and it's not, I just did more of a monotone kind of with this one.
I love those colors.
Listen, I'm obsessed with these colors.
Everyone's prices are so different. We've got a 15 and a 35, and someone paid $20 to $30 for one. So, like I was saying before, if you're selling locally, I think it's good to like pay attention to your demographic and kind of go from there.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you're selling on Etsy, this is not a great, I don't know if this is a great tip, but this is just like a personal tip. I go on Etsy a lot of times and find similar products to whatever I'm making and see what other people are pricing it at. And I feel like that's a good way to kind of get a feel for if you're overpricing or underpricing your products, because you can easily underprice yourself, which I feel like is more often what happens than overpricing.
Yeah.
So that's just something I do that helps.
So let's go ahead. Now this is hand embroidery. So if you have an embroidery machine, I just noticed where Diana said I have an embroidery machine. Listen, if you have an embroidery machine, there are so many things you can do with that.
Oh my
that's one thing I wish I had.
Yes.
I'm more of a hand embroiderer, so this is going to be a hand embroidery detail, which does take more time. So let's go back overhead, and I'm going to show you everything that you're going to need. So obviously we have our onesie. I got this on Amazon. It was a pack of 3. You can do these on t-shirts, really whatever, but we just wanted to do it on the onesie for the babies. Of course, I have my embroidery kit. You do not have to have a kit for this. What you do have to have, however, is your embroidery floss. This color that I'm using is just the Ecru, if that's how you say it, ECRU. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, it's just like this cream color. As far as the gauge needle, I think I'm using a, this is, I think, want to say, I'm not going to tell you what gauge needle this is. Honestly, I have all different gauges, and I'm not going to I don't want to get confused. I have different gauge needles. This is about a mid. It's not a tiny one, but it's not a huge one, because once again, we are going to be using this on like a t-shirt material. And then this to me is an absolute lifesaver when it comes to embroidery. This is a needle threader. Now this is a more of a fancier one. You don't have to have a fancy needle threader. Just a plain needle threader will work. So If you are doing hand embroidery, to me, a needle threader is a must. It cuts down on so much time. We do have our felt. This is Benzie felt. You all know we love Benzie felt around here. This is just a color that we have. What we are going to be doing, we are going to be adding heat and bond. So we don't have it in the pack, but this is what the brand looks like. It's heat and bond. And I'm going to be showing you how to use this and add it to your fabric. That way you can cut this on your Explorer Series Cricut or on a Maker Series Cricut. The bee needle threader that I got this at the Hoblob.
The Hoblob.
Hobby Lobby for those. I like to call it the Hoblob. I got this at the Hoblob. It was, they have a line, and I cannot remember the name of that line. It's not Be Creative. It's something. Anyway.
Something with a B.
Listen, I tried to find some cutesy needle threaders to link for you guys because I knew you guys would ask me about this. I couldn't find any cutesy ones on Amazon.
Really?
No.
That surprises me.
And I don't think they have the bee one anymore, but I was obsessed with the bee.
Oh.
I'm obsessed with the bees.
Well,
okay.
Lindsay was asking, can you do this project with no sewing experience at all? And yes.
Absolutely. You can
Yeah.
100% do this project with no sewing experience.
Yeah.
Like, this is super simple, super easy. And I'm not going to stitch the whole thing because, like I said, this does take some time.
Yes.
So please be aware. Like, when I say time, if it's your first time doing it, it may take you an hour. If you're experienced with sewing, it may take you 15 minutes to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If that. Okay, so let's go back overhead. This is going to be the big thing, and I'm going to take this off so you all can take a screenshot of it. This is going to be important if you are doing this on t-shirt material. This is the Fuse and Tear. It's Tear Away Embroidery Stabilizer. Now, it doesn't have to be this specific brand. However, Sewology. That's it.
That's the brand.
That's the brand. That's the brand of this little guy. Sewology. There you go. This is a must if you are embroidering on t-shirt material, okay? Because t-shirt material, it has a lot of give to it. So what this does is it stabilizes that material so it's not moving and it's not bending. It's not stretching when you embroider it. And so this is going to be very, very important when you're doing this. So, Sherry, coming in hot. The bee threader is $2.49 at Hobby Lobby.
Perfect.
Perfect. Practically perfect.
We've been saying that always.
Practically perfect in every way. I will go on there. The last time I checked, I couldn't find it. So I will go on there and send that over to be added to our description if you guys want the link to that. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Anyway, we'll talk more about this when we get to it. Scissors. These are my fabric scissors, my trustees fabric scissors. Love them. Our fabric grip mat and a brayer.
There you go.
This is going to be our secret sauce for keeping our fabric grip mats nice and grippy.
Grippy.
Well, okay, let's go to one. If you guys have ever used felt on a mat, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like you use it one time.
You can't use it anymore.
You can't use it again.
Yep.
And it really, it makes me so mad. So, what we're going to be doing, because we're going to be adding the heat and bond to this. And I think I've seen some people cut it both ways. I like it best when you cut it with the heat and bond facing up. That is, I just feel like you get cleaner cuts that way.
It's smoother, I think, and that's why
yes.
it cuts better.
Yes, so adding this felt to your fabric grip mat, you're still going to get felt pieces when you pull it up. But anyway, so this is going to be our secret sauce when it comes to adding our felt to the mat. So
I've got someone working on the link for that little bee.
Ooh.
I'm going to have them put it in the description so y'all can snag it.
Let's get our computer pulled up, and I'm going to show you guys which text or which font we used for this project. So as you can see, I have the names already here. I have welded them, but we're going to try our little trick. Ha, yes, okay, okay. So there is a little trick. If you have a text in your design space, if you guys did not know, and you think, I'm like, oh gosh, I have welded this. What am I gonna do? I cannot remember what font this is. Literally can't remember. Because I do this so many times. Like
Literally all the time.
I thought this was Hayden. I thought this font was Hayden. I was 100% sure this is the Hayden font. Thought I've said it all day.
You said it, yeah.
So what we're gonna do to be able to know what font we used. Now this is on a Mac, so I don't know if you can like right click on a Windows and find it out. I think you can right click on a Windows. If you are on a Mac, what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold down the Control key and click this, and then this is going to come up. This little box is gonna come up. You're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom to image info. Y'all, selected font is Lemonade. That is
not
that
what you
has
thought.
saved my life so many times. Let's do that again because I just love it. We're going to hover over our weld result, hit Control, click, or right click if you're on a Mac, scroll down to image info, selected font is Lemonade. And now you know what font to use. So now what I can do is I can come over here to text, go to my fonts. Once again, we've talked about it. Cricut did this update. So now you have to go to systems. I cannot stand this update. Anyway, we're not going to talk about it. It's a sore spot. So we're going to type in Lemonade. We're going to type in the first part of it.
Tracy said they downloaded that font yesterday. And I want to say about Lemonade, it's in a yellow on our website. And
Okay, so we're going to have to download this. We're going to have to download Lemonade.
Okay. It's really cute. And well, then you guys can see. So like on our website, some of our thumbnails are in yellow. And I never choose those fonts because I'm blind and I can't see. I'm not really actually blind, but like I can't see the yellow as well. And so I just skip over the yellow thumbnail fonts. But like that font is so cute. I just used it. I don't even remember what I put it on there for, but.
So we're just going to type Lemonade if it will pull up.
A lot of people are saying thank you for the hack.
Listen, that hack has saved my life. So if you are a Maker's Gonna Learn member, obviously we have thousands of fonts for you guys. This is just one of the fonts. This is how you are going to download our fonts onto your computer. Once again, this is we use this specific computer is technically called a mini Mac. So this is on a Mac. But I think we do have a video showing you how to download your fonts on a Windows as well. Did you not do one?
I did one.
So
for
you can
your
search
iPad, for a MacBook, and for a PC.
Yes. So what you're going to do, you don't have to click on this. However, if you want to see what you're going to be doing will look good in this, you can come over here, you can click on it, and let's just type in Ruby. I think I'm going to, not with a little R, we're going to do a big R. So cute. Ruby. So I really like that. So guess what? I'm going to download that onto my font book. So I'm going to click the little cloud icon that has the arrow pointing down. It's going to download down here. It is a zip file, so I'm going to click on that. Then I'm going to unzip it, and then it pulls it up here, and I'm going to install my font onto my computer. Now, once it's installed, we're going to go back to Cricut. And this is where we've talked about this hack quite a few times too, but I like to remind you guys what to do because sometimes we have some new friends in here and they may not have seen it. So what we're going to do, we're going to make sure our project is saved. So we're going to save our project, and then from there, I'm going to make sure this stays on because I still need you on, buddy. We're going to go to View. And we're going to reload. Well, let me show you. So if I go into text right now, I downloaded Lemonade onto my computer, right? But we're going to go to System. It's still not in Design Space. So what you have to do is you have to reload Design Space. So if you go to View, used to we would completely exit out of Design Space and then come back in. But if you just go to view and you hit reload, what it's going to do, it's going to completely reload Cricut Design Space. And now I can pop in here and grab a text, go to my fonts, go to systems, type in lemonade. We're just going to type in lemon first. And bada bing, bada boom, there we have it. That's how easy that is. So easy. So now we're just going to type in Ruby.
Love it.
Now, this is a font that if you do not weld it, it's going to, it will cut out different letters. So we're just going to go ahead and weld this together. You can size it up, size it down. I may size it up just a little bit. We'll see. We'll just leave it like that. That looks like it's pretty good. That way it'll cut out large enough. And then we're just going to weld this together. So if you are doing the transfer tape on the mat, if you're using felt, 9 times out of 10 you're going to have to change it almost every single time.
Yeah, because it gets
it just gets,
it's fuzzy.
Fuzzy.
Yeah, it's very fuzzy.
Yes, very good. So what we're going to do, we're going to click make it. Actually, I'm going to hide these because I don't need them anymore. So we've got Ruby here. We're going to click continue. We are doing this on our Maker 3. However, remember you can do this on an Explore series. So we're going to browse all material. We're going to search felt, not that felt. We're going to select our felt craft bonded because we are fixing to bond our fabric. So as you can see, it is a fine point blade. Now, one thing I want to show you guys. Actually, let's go overhead and let's bond our fabric first before we cut it. So what I have here is I just have a piece of Benzie felt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our heat and bond. So I think it was like 1 inch by 4 inches. So we only have a very small section that we're going to be using. So I'm going to just cut, we're going to cut this off right here.
And that way you're not having to lay an entire piece of felt over the entire transfer paper.
Oh,
You're just laying down the portion that you need to actually cut out. And you can cut the same amount with the heat and bond. So you're not wasting a bunch of that either.
So now I'm just going to cover this piece of felt with this heat and bond. And then I'm just going to cut the amount that I need. And you can trim this heat and bond. So what, and I'll show you guys, when we get there, I'll show you how you can do this. So we are going to just cut this so that we know it covers it. So now we're done with our heat and bond. Now, what I'm doing is I have my Cricut mini press. It was actually set on 3 for some reason. All you have to do is have this set on 2. I almost use everything at a heat setting of 2.
Me too.
It's very rare that I use a heat setting of 3 with my mini press. The only time that I've ever really remembered having to use a heat setting of 3 is when I do the outdoor mats.
Oh yeah.
That's about the only time.
Yeah, 2 is a good setting, just a good standard setting. It's just like medium.
2 is a very good standard setting. So now you're going to lay your heat and bond this plastic side down, okay? Plastic side down. It's not green yet, but we're gonna go with it.
It's been on.
It's been on.
Iris is asking if this will be available for review. Yes, you can come back and watch any of our lives basically after they're done. You can come back anytime to our channel and they'll be on there. So.
Yep. So now we are just fusing this heat and bond material to our felt. So it's got it all covered. And then we're just gonna come in here and we are going to, I'm actually going to cut the excess off, get my fabric scissors back out. We are going to cut this excess off right here on the edge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part and I'm going to pull this plastic piece up. Now you can see we have some that was over. That is fine, not a big deal. What we're gonna do is I'm just going to come in here and just trim it off because it did not bond to anything, so it's not sticky. So
can you get Benzie felt on, do you have to get it from their website or can you get it on like Amazon or where would you recommend?
I think you can get it on Amazon, but you can, I mean, they have a great website and they have literally all of their colors on their website. I don't know that Amazon has like all of their colors. So
no, yeah, and their website has like color bundles. I've purchased like a vintage bohemian floral bundle one time, and it was like,
I think this is what this came from.
Oh, you know what? I bet it did, because it was like sage and blush and like all those pretty like boho colors.
Beautiful.
And so they have lots of color options on there.
So now what we're gonna do before I add this to my mat, I'm going to take a piece of our transfer tape, not use my fabric scissors, and I'm going to cut my transfer tape off.
Sherry asked, can you use heat and bond for t-shirts to make a pillow? I'm thinking you're meaning, can you use the heat and bond on pillows?
So you can use, what is going to happen is I have fused the heat and bond to this felt, but then once I cut it, I'm going to turn it over and fuse it to my t-shirt. So if that's what you're asking, yes, this side is fusible too, and I am going to fuse this side to the t-shirt as well. Yeah, okay. So what I'm doing now is I am taking the transfer tape, maybe in a minute. Y'all, I love, if I can't get it off, my transfer tape off, I like to come in here and try to tear that paper backing. It saves my life. Saves my life. So I'm laying my transfer tape down before I add my felt to my mat. And then I'm just adding this onto the transfer tape. Now what this does is this will help you to save your Cricut fabric grip mats. So I love this. So now I'm just adding my felt onto my fabric grip mat with the heat and bond, or with the transfer tape facing down and the heat and bond facing up.
So you've got mat,
yes,
transfer tape, felt,
yes,
heat and bond.
Yes,
that's
in that
the order.
In that order. So we have our mat on the bottom.
Megan wants a close-up of your nails.
Okay.
Listen, Lauren's nails always look good. Y'all have to see them every week.
There's a close-up of my nails.
We need to just start posting it on the Instagram. Lauren's nails for the week. Mine look the same as they did the beginning of August. They're still blue. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, Sherry, the stabilizer is to stiffen the shirt so that when you go and
embroider,
the t-shirt doesn't move. I'm just using, so we're just using the Caesar. Shout out to Caesar again.
Shout out to Caesar.
I feel like we're a brand video right now.
It wasn't on purpose. We really love Caesar.
Wasn't. This is just their standard grip adhesive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We use it for everything.
Everything.
We use it for everything. It's my favorite.
Okay, I think I braid this down good enough. Yes. I think we're good. So now we're gonna hop back over to Design Space. This is where it is going to be important, because remember, we are fusing the heat and bond that is facing up onto our t-shirt. So just like with heat transfer vinyl, we are going to have to mirror our text or mirror our image, okay? So we are mirroring our image, because what we're gonna do, let's go overhead. We've mirrored our image because what we're gonna do is I'm going to take this off and then I will turn it this way so that this side of the heat and bond will fuse to our onesie. Does that make sense? I don't want to get you guys confused because it can be confusing. So back to Design Space, we have mirrored our text. We're going to click done. Then all we have to do now is we are going to add our mat to our Cricut. We have our fine point blade here. Once again, we talked at the top of the show about how Cricut has a quote-unquote fabric bonded blade. Once again, guys, this is just it's just a fine point blade. It's a 45-degree angle fine point blade.
And I will sometimes like rig it because I like to use a rotary blade to cut felt.
I do like to use a rotary blade. Like if I had my choice, I would use a rotary blade to cut felt. I just like it.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I wanted to make sure that our friends who have an Explorer series was able to do this one as well. So that's why we are doing the bonded felt. So if you
Right.
have an Explorer series, you can't use the adaptive tools. So these are, let's see, let's find one. Here's one. These are the adaptive tools, and this is the rotary blade. So these are only available to use if you have a maker series. So this is why we did the bonded, so that you only have to use a fine point blade. Oh,
Because it'll still cut. I mean, it still cuts.
I take that back. Oh, we do have a pink blade that I
We
have
obviously
never used.
We should have used it today.
We should have.
What is it
Sorry,
doing? Did
guys,
it-
I lied to you. We do have a bonded fabric blade.
That's
I didn't know these
hilarious.
existed.
I know, and it's literally been
It's
in that.
literally right here.
That's
Literally. So I'm just using regular pressure.
Yes.
Just using regular pressure. Please look. Please
Is it
look.
red button of doom?
It's the red button of death.
This happens a lot with fabric, you all, and we're about to release a video on how to actually fix this. But you know what? Let's do some live troubleshooting.
Let's do some live troubleshooting. Okay.
This
So-
is particularly why I like to use the rotary blade.
This is particularly why she likes to use the rotary blade.
Even though you can do it with the fine point blade. So maybe we should try it with the pink. Maybe we should try the
Let's just try it.
Because we obviously never use it.
Right.
We never use that pink blade. So it's going to be like brand spanking new probably.
Yep.
Honestly, it's probably opened, used once, and then put in there and then never touched again.
We gonna do it. And I'm not sure why. Listen, we have issues out of this Cricut anyway.
Well, so we had a Maker 3 in here, and then it was broken, and we got it replaced, and then we're still having some issues out of it. I'm a Maker girl, ride or die. Maker through and through for me.
Yeah.
But the Maker, a lot of other people have good luck with the Maker 3s. I love the Maker, though. That's just my favorite
So
one.
we're going back over here. We're gonna try this again. And I literally, when I tell you guys, I literally just cut felt a while ago with my Maker series, like my original Maker. Not a problem.
We just cut it.
Not a problem.
Yeah, no issues. So we'll see. I think it'll do fine. I think the new blade will do fine. So maybe it's either the blade or the machine. Also, if you guys were I think it was our last live, I was talking about tech wrap and how I could not get it to cut. There's something wrong with my machine.
It was not her. It was
not the
housing.
vinyl. Yes,
it was the housing.
It was the housing. And so I have to get the housing fixed on my machine. But I'll also say it's hard to find a good transfer tape for tech wrap, and I think they want you to use their transfer tape because when you order the tech wrap vinyl, they like send it with transfer tape, if that makes sense.
You know what I'm gonna do?
What?
I'm gonna tape this down. Like we're gonna
Tape it
make sure
down.
it is not
Y'all
going
know
nowhere.
We use the painter's tape like every day. I use the painter's tape every day. It's my favorite.
If
my
I
favorite crafting
ever
tool.
question if something is on my mat is going to move,
Tape it down.
tape it down.
Yeah,
I don't know why this did this. This kind of like really upsets me.
So did it move the fabric? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think it moved the fabric. I've not had this issue, but we're gonna tape it down just to be on the safe side, y'all.
Did you use that tack of transfer tape underneath it earlier? Or did you use a different tack?
No, I used the Caesar. It was fine. No issues whatsoever.
Someone said if you weren't bonding the felt to anything, would you just use the transfer tape and felt? Yes. But the cut settings would be different because
Yes.
if it's not bonded to anything, you would just cut it under like a wool felt. I think it's a wool felt
Yeah.
setting. And it may not use a fine point blade. It probably would have to use like a rotary blade, if I had to guess. I don't think I've cut felt not bonded.
If it's not bonded, you have to use a rotary blade. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's pray to the Cricut gods.
Pray to the Cricut gods. I have trust issues.
Let's just
with
pray
this.
to Jesus. Let's just straight up pray to Jesus, pray to God where this is going to work.
Oh my gosh.
The devil is messing with the church's money.
Yeah. That's what Tanner always says. A lot of people don't have issues with the Maker 3. I'm not being a hater. I just love my Maker. Like my specific machine I use, like I don't want to change my machine out. I want to use that one all the time. So But customer service is super helpful, especially with Cricut. One time my machine messed up and they FaceTimed me. Okay, they FaceTimed me to fix it, and then we couldn't fix it, so we sent it back and they sent us a new one, which was awesome. What's it doing? It didn't do it again?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Honky tonk.
Honky tonk, but onky donk.
Do you want me to go try to cut it outside?
No,
and you can
because
show them the
I think I know what the issue is.
Okay.
I seriously think it's this transfer tape because it's coming up off the transfer tape.
Oh, like it's not sticky enough.
Uh-huh.
You want me to, look, I've got a whole box of transfer tape right
Do we have
here.
a strong grip right
Yep.
there?
We show enough to do.
We gonna do it again.
Well, I've got,
No, I have the regular Cricut, which I know is really tacky. Do you want me to go get some strong grip though? Let me go get strong.
I mean, I used this transfer tape a while ago. I don't know that we have strong grip.
We had some, but we might have went through it. Do you want to show them how to do the embroidery portion, and we can come back?
No, because this is important.
Very
You know what?
important.
We're just gonna do it on the mat. I don't like to do it on the mat, but we don't have any strong grip.
Yeah. Okay,
transfer
that's
tape.
fine.
Okay, so I told y'all to use the transfer tape, and of course, when we go live, I have issues with the transfer tape. So if you do the transfer tape, use a strong grip, not what we just did. Like I said, I don't understand. I did this before, no issues.
The strong grip will just ensure that it's
Yeah.
definitely not coming up.
Yep. So I'm going to take my fabric scissors and I'm just going to cut this part off.
Cut it.
Cut it off.
You want to make sure whenever you're using fabric and felt that everything is flat.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of thick anyways, especially when you're layering, you've got the mat, you've got the transfer, you've got the bonded, and the fabric. It just needs to be, the brayer is really good for making sure everything's laid completely down flat.
Yeah.
And that, I think that will cause the issues.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
That looks good.
That look good.
Good. Okay. Going back to this, we're going to edit our mat, make sure it's in the right spot.
Yeah, always go back to Design Space and check if you're recutting the same thing. I feel like sometimes you gotta make some adjustments.
Probably just wait for a minute. I need to edit.
Oh,
Why is it doing this? Okay, we're gonna go to cancel. We're gonna go to yes. Okay, there we go. We're gonna move her. Let's put Ruby right here in the middle. Maybe she'll work right there.
yeah.
And then we gonna go to continue.
Diane says, I have no issues with you showing us what not to do. Which,
Listen,
that's
there
what
you
we're here
go.
for, honestly.
Make sure that you use a strong grip. I bet you money I used all of the strong grip transfer tape when I was doing my leather stuff.
We probably need to get some more.
Yeah. Okay, so felt. Going back to felt. Felt. Bonded.
So still the same cut settings.
Still the same cut settings. We are using our pink blade, our fabric blade, which I did it with a regular blade, just FYI, fine point. Mm-hmm. Works the same.
That's what you've used for all of it, haven't you?
Yes.
Sue said, I love my brayer. I love the brayer.
Listen.
Even just for a regular, I use it on paper projects. I use it for vinyl projects. I just love the brayer.
Yeah.
It's really on there. And sometimes if I use a burnishing tool, it'll scratch my vinyl, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
it leaves little
100%.
streak marks. I'm not about that. Stuff Lauren's using today.
Stop it. It's doing it again.
Oh no. Lorraine, yes, the regular fine point blade is the same as the pink blade. It's just pink, has a pink housing.
You know what we're gonna do?
What are you doing?
I'm just cutting it this way.
Okay. With a felt up.
Yeah, we're gonna try it this way. See if this is the problem. I've always cut it with the felt facing down, so I don't.
Do you think maybe it's just getting caught up in that
I think
heat
it might
bond?
just be this Cricut.
I'm not going to say you're wrong. So you don't need to mirror it now.
Now we're gonna go back. So if you're having this issue, I always say cut it with the bonded side up.
Yeah, normally I do too. Like when I did the Stony Clover dupe video, I put the bonded side facing up and then mirrored my image. But now that you're not doing that, we won't.
Yep. So let's try this again. Bray it down. Pray to Jesus.
It's like the more it messes up, the harder Lauren brays it down. She's like aggressively braying the felt down.
It's
like,
probably
going to
cut right there where the masking tape is. It's okay. We're going to edit our mat. Actually, we're going to click done, and then we're going to come back here and make it again. The mirror is off. We are going to pull Ruby to the, okay, so we've got, yeah, it's just going to cut through this tape a little bit. We're going to move our tape.
It's always good to check. Sue asked if we needed to calibrate our Cricut, and I don't think that's what the problem is right now. We may need to calibrate our Cricut though, but I think
the issue right now is honestly just this Cricut.
We just have had issues.
I'm like, I hate that you all are seeing us mess up, but at the same time, I don't hate that you all are seeing us mess up. We are normal crafters too, and we literally mess up every day.
Right, you guys. We do a lot of like trial and error. We'll say lots of trial and error.
Yeah. Okay. Once again, we're coming in here, and I'm pretty sure the name of this video is "Master Cutting Felt with Your Cricut."
We love that for our journey.
We love that for ourselves. We love that for our journey. That is great. But you all know that sometimes it just doesn't work, and I don't know.
But you know what? We're going to be masters because we're going to know what not to do, is what I think. And honestly.
But what kills me is I cut this the first time, and it cut like butter. I had zero issues.
So here you go. Just start checking. This is like being a parent, I feel like. I have a checkbox in my head, and I'm like, okay, that didn't work. Let's move to the next thing.
Okay.
That didn't work. Let's move to the next.
Okay, let's go overhead.
Did it do it?
Y'all.
Tell me.
You just look at this. Watch.
Tell me it did it.
Stop. It was perfect.
All right. Well, you heard
there
it here.
You go. You heard it
here. If you're using
a
Maker 3 and a fine point blade, just put the felt facing up. And then if you're using a Maker out there with a fine point blade bonded side up.
Listen, I think it's everybody's Cricut is going to be different.
It is, because I think we did a project recently and someone was like, I'm using your exact setting and it's still not doing it. And I'm like, I don't know what else to do, because that was like what my machine did. So don't be scared to play around.
I cut, can they hear that?
Can y'all hear the rain? It is coming a downpour.
Okay. So there you have it. There we go.
She's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous girls.
Ruby's not. My baby is in 12 months, and she's 9 months old. She's wearing 12 to 18 months.
So this is not going to fit her, and that's okay.
It's still cute, though.
We love it. So what we are going to do now, I'm going to get my tweezers, and I am actually going to pull this up. Now this is going to be the only issue with this is tacking this down. So the easiest way, you can push this down, and it will stay a little bit. So that will stay. So we're just doing the middle part first. But once that stays a little bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it inside out with my hand here so that it kind of stays in place. And then I'm just going to hit it from the back side too. Can they see that? Is that in focus?
It looks like you're in frame from over here.
We're hitting that from the back side so that heat and bond fuses. So then we're going to turn her back around. And then we're going to place our R. Now if you wanted to use, you could use the, what am I trying to think of? Heat transfer tape.
Yeah.
I think it's just easier to do this. Just place your letters, and then we're just going to hit for just a second.
And it bonds really quickly.
Yeah. Remember, we're just hitting for a second because I don't want to lose the look of the felt completely, and then we're going to turn it inside out. Actually, that one didn't fuse. I didn't hit it long enough. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it.
So, okay, so a couple of people are saying, can you say the steps again? LaShonda, this will be on a replay, so if you want to go back and watch from the beginning, which I think we started, if you go back and rewatch it, we started crafting at about 15 minutes in, because we were doing an unboxing and all that.
Oh, I was about to say, how far are we in?
We are right at the hour mark, so you're fine, you're fine. But yeah, a lot of people loving the font.
So now we're flipping it. This Y didn't stay, but it's okay. We're gonna, right there. And then we've got it inside out. And then we're gonna hit it from the back. So now, here is going to be the important step for when you are doing embroidery on a t-shirt. Now you could stop right here. This is the step we're at. This is just Braden's. This is not Ruby's. So this is the step we're at. You technically could stop here. You could stop here.
And it's cute.
And it's super cute.
Yeah.
However, if you want to add the embroidery detail, like on Carson's, what we're going to do is we are going to add a fabric stabilizer. Now this is a tearaway, so you fuse it with your mini press, and then once you're done, you tear it away. Now you can layer this. You can do multiple layers of this. You don't have to do just one layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that it covers our whole name, covers the name Ruby. There are two sides to this. There's like a paper side, and then there's like you can tell what side is going to bond to your fabric. So you are going to do, it's kind of like the slick side. It doesn't feel like paper. And we are going to place it, and it's going, you can feel through this. It's going to cover up your name. You're going to take your mini press once again at a heat setting of 2, and we are going to bond this to the back of the onesie. Just
I didn't know that you could layer that. That's cool.
Yes, you can. I'm actually going to add a second layer.
Oh.
Just to show you guys that you can add layers.
And so this isn't the kind that washes away.
No, so there is a water-soluble kind. However, the water-soluble kind is one that you have to pin in, and then you stitch through it. It's not, you don't fuse it. There may be a fusible.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to camera 1. There is a video where I teach you how to add an embroidery design like using your Cricut pins. It is called Stick and Stitch. So it's
it just came out.
But it's not a stabilizer.
Okay.
It's more or less just a template for your design.
Yes, which that video is really cool. If you guys are getting into embroidery, go check that out.
So we'll go back to camera 2, go overhead. So here I'm adding the second layer.
Okay, and so you don't peel it off. You just iron it on and then put on
literally
another layer.
iron it on.
Oh.
And you leave it on there. And so it makes this fabric so it doesn't move. Okay?
Okay.
So there's that, and then I'm going to place this to the side, and I already have some of the stabilizer on the back of this one for Braden. What you're going to do then, you're going to take your embroidery hoop. What I've done is I've taken the inside of the embroidery hoop, put it up through the onesie, and then taken the outside, unscrewed it, stretched it over the top. Okay? So what I have done here is I have threaded my needle, and I can just show you guys how I like to start. We'll do that real quick, and I'll show you with this one. So I've just taken my thread, cut that. What I'm going to do before I thread my needle, I will add about 3 knots in it. You can do 2 or 3, whatever makes you comfortable. 1 I just don't feel like is enough. So we'll add 2 knots in the bottom of our thread.
So if you just did 1, it would just like go right up through your fabric once you sew it in, especially if you're using a bigger needle. So you don't want to use a needle bigger than your thread, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So I just pull down until I reach where I've knotted that first one, kind of pull it through, and then pull it tight. Now, what I like to do, this is the lifesaver. Used to, I would, you know how old school, just lick my thread and try my best to get it through there. This is so much easier to me. You stick your needle threader through the eye of your needle, put your embroidery thread through that in a minute.
I'm watching this very intently. I always lick it and put it through.
And then move this back and forth. And that's it.
Oh, that's magic.
And then we have started our thread.
Cool.
Now, as you can see, I have already started on this one. So what you do is you're going to come up through the bottom and then back down at point A. So look, coming up through the bottom at point A, right here, coming up through point A, down through point B. Here we have come up through point C, back into point B. So I'll show you guys here. So this is just called a back stitch. This is a very simple back stitch. And this one is one you can back stitch through the exact same hole, or you can back stitch if you're filling in. Some people will back stitch in about the middle. That's more like a brick stitch, I guess you could do it that way. So what we're doing is we're coming, which I'm trying to show you guys and then see it as well. So coming up, can you see that? Can they see that? Up through this point. So we're going to call this point, we went A, B, C. We're going to call that one D. We're coming up through point D. I'm using they asked me what kind of thread I'm using. I'm just using the DMC thread. This is the 8mm, yes, the 8mm, I think. Anyway, I'm using all strands. I did not split these strands. I'm using all strands. You can split these strands, but I'm using them all. So up through point B, we're going to pull that tight, and then we're going to go back down through point C. So I'm just going back down in through that hole right there, and then pulling it through.
Well.
And then once again, and I'm really trying to see, guys, and show you guys so you can see. So we're going back up. You're going to want to try to keep it in the middle of your letters as best as possible. Yeah, this is a committed relationship with an embroidery machine would be great. So we're coming up, and then once again back down through the hole, going to back stitch it in here, and then pulling it through.
So easy.
And then you're just going to continue that. You are going to continue that through the whole name. Now, there may be some instances where you may have to get creative, like this, the hook of this B, for example. You may have to come back down in here. You can then cut it and tie it off if you want to. If you don't want a lot of threads going every which way, I would probably come back down on this, knot that and tie it off, and then start back up here and come through right here, knot it, tie it off, and then where this connects, you can just go through the whole thing. Well, I might knot it and tie it off at the Y. But once again, up, and then you're going to back stitch through that hole and then pull it down and then finish it out. And I'm just going to be real honest. We'll go to one. We're not going to do this whole thing on the live. Because it would take me a while. And
someone did say this is very satisfying to watch, which I agree. I was I got my mouth open over here watching you sew, which I think the embroidery is relaxing in itself.
It is such a relaxing thing to do, especially of the evenings, which I'm the type of person, I go back and forth on. Let's just come sit down and chat for a minute.
Yeah, here, let me move my stuff over.
I love embroidering. It's one of those things where of the evenings, it's something that I can just mindlessly do.
Yeah,
it's a mindless activity.
You can just kind of get it set up and start.
That's a good question. How do you tie it off? Well, let me just go show you how to tie it off.
Show us, please.
I needed to show you how to tie it off.
Yes.
So once you are ready to tie it off, we're going to try to flip this inside out really quick.
And if y'all are curious about really getting into embroidery and you're wanting to kind of like up your crafting game, the Maker University is a great place to go for that, because Lauren does a very in-depth detail on embroidery and like all the stitches. How many did you have?
Not all the stitches. Listen, there
was
are
like 12
There
though.
are so many stitches. I think I covered 10 or 12.
There's a lot. And the project's really cute. It's a rainbow.
Yes.
It's very cute.
Super cute.
Yeah.
So how to tie this off. This is, I feel like everybody has their own way of tying things off. This is how I do it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come back through. So I know you all probably can't see. I'm trying my best. So my thread was on this side of my stitch. So I'm going to come over my stitch back through this bottom portion. You see how I'm doing that there? Back through there. And then I'm literally bringing it around and pulling it through that loop and just knotting it. Which that was a little, that's pretty loose. That's a loose knot. I would do it tighter than that. So we're just going to come back through here. Make sure your embroidery is tight before you knot it, before you tie it off, because you can have issues if it's not. This just, I don't know why this messed up. So we're going to pull this and then pull it down and pull it tight right there. And then you cut that off. And
so
that's how you knot it off.
wash it with the, like with that stabilizer? I'm assuming you can wash it with stabilizer.
Okay, so what you do with the stabilizer is once you are done, this literally tears away. So you just tear it away.
Oh,
and
okay,
you're done.
Cool.
Yeah. So this is not, you'll tear this stabilizer off once you have finished. So this is the tear away kind. So you're gonna tear it all off, it will come off, and then you just wash it. This is just to help keep your fabric so it doesn't, you see how this part right here, when I stretch it this way, it doesn't move, but this is still like super stretchy.
Yeah.
This is what the stabilizer does. It keeps it from moving.
Love that.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel. My name is Lauren and I am a craft educator here at Maker's Gonna Learn, and today we're gonna be bringing you the Cricut hacks that you need for embroidery that you didn't even know that you needed. In today's video, we are going to be learning a basic embroidery stitch as well as how we can use our Cricut to create a pattern to embroider on any type of material that you would like. We're now gonna go overhead and jump right into everything you're gonna need to get this project started. Now that we're overhead, as you can see, there's really not a whole lot of materials that we need for this project. Our main material that we're gonna be working with today is going to be the printable stick and stitch. Now, this is something that you can actually print the design from your printer onto this, but we are going to be using the Cricut pins to create a design, and then we're going to lay this on the article of clothing that we want. So as you can see today, we're going to be embroidering some shorts. You do not have to do jeans. You can do other material, but I will say if you're going to do like a t-shirt or a t-shirt type material, you are going to need a backer for that or a stabilizer. And what that's going to do is, because cotton likes to stretch a lot, as you can see, this denim is actually a stretchy denim as well, but we're able to stretch that on the hoop so it doesn't move around as much as like a cotton t-shirt. So if you do like a t-shirt or a cotton t-shirt, make sure that you do use a stabilizer on the back, that way that it keeps it nice and flat. Obviously you're going to need some type of article of clothing. We have an embroidery needle. This is something that you can get at your local craft store or Amazon. We have embroidery floss. You are going to use whatever color that you desire. Today we're going to be using a sage green and a hot pink for our palm leaves. And then you're going to need an embroidery hoop. We're going to be using Cricut pins and a fabric grip mat. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be fabric grip. Actually, this fabric grip mat is pretty light on the tack, so we're just using this today. If you have a standard grip mat and you don't have a fabric grip mat, you can do that and just tape the edges of your stick and stitch down to your mat so that it doesn't move when the Cricut starts writing or tracing that design on the printable stick and stitch. Another thing that's going to come in very helpful when you are creating your design is going to be a measuring tape. That way you can measure the area that you are wanting to embroider, and that measurement you can transfer over to Design Space so that when your Cricut starts to draw it on your printable stick and stitch, it has it perfectly laid out for you. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into Design Space so that we can start the process of teaching you how to create your design. Now that we are over here in Cricut Design Space, as you can see, I already have the design that I want, but I'm going to hide this and I'm going to show you step by step how you're going to be able to create this. So we're going to go over here to the Maker's Gonna Learn website, and you're going to click Cut Files. From there, you are just going to search the word leaf, which I have already done. You can choose whatever pattern you want. I actually started off trying to use a sunset on the back pocket, but with these shorts specifically, it just did not work. You can do any type of floral leaves. However, I am only going to be showing you one stitch today. Now, if learning embroidery is something you want to do, there are multiple stitches, but we're just going to go over one stitch. So I'm going to use this Monstra leaf right here. You are going to download that onto your computer. So you're going to click this little cloud icon, and as you can see, it downloads down here as a zip file. Now, this is a PNG, so it's technically a print then cut image. However, we're going to turn it into a basic cut once we get back over to Design Space. So we're going to go over to Design Space. We're going to go to Upload. I already have this upload, but I do want to walk you all through this process. We're going to upload the image. We're going to click Browse. We're going to scroll down and find the PNG. Here we have leaf 2, leaf 2, same thing. We're going to open this up. Now we're going to click Complex. And as you can see, it comes up with the complex image. We're going to apply and continue. Now here is where you have the option to turn it from a print and cut image to a basic cut. So if you wanted to print this image onto the stick and stitch from your printer, you can do that. So the stick and stitch is a washable medium, so even if you did print it and it come up like this, that's going to wash away, so it's really just going to waste a lot of ink. So we're just going to be choosing the basic cut image. I just wanted you all to realize that you can print it on the stick and stitch, but it's not necessary. So from there, we're going to upload that. We're going to select it and add it to our canvas. Now this does pull up very large, so if you go up to the top to the size, here we're just going to size this down. We're going to start at 5 inches. Now it is locked, so it's going to automatically size the other side down. Looks like we have 2, so we're going to delete this one out. So now we have a leaf that is 5 inches in width and 5.34 inches in height. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go overhead real quick. Now this is going to really depend on where you want your design. As you can see, I've already started on this side. Now I'm not going to add anything on this side. I'm just going to show you how to do this. This was just so I started this so it wouldn't be such a long process to finish this whole thing. So what we're going to do is we are going to measure how much space that we can take up on the leg of these shorts. So if you wanted to do it on the front leg, you can turn it around if you wanted to do something on the pocket. Either way, you're going to measure and see how much room you have to work with, and that's how big your design is going to be. So once we've measured and we've determined how large of an area we have to work with, so we're going to go with about 6.5 or so, I'd say comfortably by about like 5. So once we've measured, we're going to go back to Design Space, and we're going to maybe size this down just a tad, and then we are going to duplicate it, because for this design I have 2 Monstra leaves, and I'm going to change the color of the second one to green. And I actually wanted to size this one even smaller than the first one, and then I'm going to rotate it to the side just a little bit. And this is where you can line up these leaves however you want. I think I want to rotate this one down just a little bit. And then we'll bring this one about right here. Either way, this is where it's going to be a personal preference, how you want to do this, but the end result is going to be the same. So once you have positioned your images, now if you can do multiple, you can do 3 or 4. So if there were other leaves you wanted to add in, that is fine, you can do that. But what we're fixing to do next, I want you to remember that you can only do with 2 images at a time. So what I'm going to do, because really and truly, so let's turn both of these into a pin function, because they are going to be a pin function by the time this is over. So we're going to just go ahead and turn both of these into a pin function. So as you can see, this middle portion right here is very convoluted. It's very, has a lot going on, because as of right now, this bottom leaf, this Cricut recognizes, okay, I'm going to draw this whole bottom leaf. So if you do that, you're going to have these lines going through the middle of the leaf that you want on top, and that's not something that we want. So we're going to change these back into basic cut. So as you can see, we want this top leaf to be solid, and we just want the lines that we see in between, and we can zoom in. We just want these lines to kind of poke through and not run through the top of this, through the whole part of this leaf. So what we're going to do is we are going to select both of these leaves, and we're going to go down here to the bottom right, and we're going to click slice. Now, it's going to make it look all funky, but just hold on with me. Do not go and click and drag any of this. Please do not. We're going to work from our layers panel over here. We're not going to be clicking and dragging. So this portion, I can't zoom in, but this portion is our bottom leaf with the top leaf out. This is what we want to keep. What we do not want to keep is the portion that is going to be laying under our top leaf. So this is part of the top leaf. This is why we changed the colors. The green is part of the top leaf, and this green is part of the top leaf. What we do not want is this part of the black leaf. So we're going to delete this out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select this slice result as well as this slice result. From there, we are going to weld them together. And that puts our leaf back to its original shape. Now, if I move this leaf, you can see that there is a perfect outline of where this leaf is supposed to go. And that is how the Cricut is going to recognize, hey, I don't need to draw where this leaf goes, I just need to draw around it. So we're going to go back so we can move that back. From there, we're going to select them both, go up to Operation, we're going to change it to Pin Function. Now you can really see how there are no lines that are going to be drawn through the top part of this leaf. So we're going to select the top part and change it to the color that we want. We're going to be using a hot pink, we'll just use raspberry, and then we're going to select the bottom portion, and that is going to be our green. So we're just going to select sour apple. And that is the color scheme that we're going to be going for. Now, the next thing that you need to do, select them both. We are going to click attach. We are not going to weld. We are just going to attach them. Okay? Attach is what you need here, not weld. So let's show you what, if you detach it, and let's say we select these both and we weld this together, what it's going to do, it's going to make it all one image, and that is not something we want. We don't want to weld, never weld. Not with this. So we're just going to select them both again, bottom right hand corner, attach. From there, you can see that our size, remember we said we could work with about a 6.5 by 5, 6.5 in width, 5 by height. We're a little over the 5, but that's okay. We're way under that 6.5. So now what we're going to do is we are just going to click Make It. As you can see, it puts it on our mat for us. We're going to click Continue. Once we have selected our maker, we are going to just choose heavy cardstock because this is the pin function, so it is not going to matter really what material because it's still going to be able to draw on that. So as you can see, this says load sour apple pen into clamp A. We're going to go over to our Cricut. We're going to take our Cricut pen. We are going to load it into clamp A, and then we're going to go overhead. We are going to put our stick and stitch on our mat. And then we are going to head back over to our Cricut and load this into our Cricut. Once it is ready, we're going to click play. Once your Cricut has finished with the first color, it's going to tell you to load your second color in. So we are going to go to our Cricut and pull out our sour apple pen, and then we are going to load in our pink color. You always want to make sure that click. You always want to make sure when you are loading in your markers that you hear that click. Now, if you do not have Cricut pens, one thing that you may have to do if you are working with like Crayola pens is you may have to open up your clamp. But if you are working with Cricut pens, you don't have to. Just wait for the click and then hit play. Once it is done, we're going to unload that, and then we can go overhead. Now, as you can see, this still drew the green part inside where the green and the pink mix, but one way that you can keep that from happening, or just remind yourself, you could start with this pink and everything that connects to this pink leaf, you will embroider that first. That way you can come back in here and add in your little green touches after you're finished. So once that has finished drawing, all you're going to do, you are going to take it off of your mat. We are going to grab a pair of scissors, and we are just going to trim around the outside of our design, and then it will be ready to place on your garment. So I'm going to show you how to place it on your garment. As you can see, I already have this on here, but I'm going to show you how you can. This is where you're going to basically use your own judgment, your own creativity, how you want to place things. But we are going to take the back off of our stick and stitch. And then this side is what is going to attach, what's going to lay down on your fabric. So if you want your leaves pointing up, I think it would be cute for them to be on the side. Obviously this design was a little bigger than this one, so if I were to do a smaller design, I would probably do it on the side here. Or if you wanted to do it on the back portion, you can do that. Just know if you do it on the back through the pocket, you are going to want to make sure, it's going to be hard to go through both layers of denim here at this pocket. So you may have to come in toward the back and just go through this single layer of denim, which may not be for a beginner. That may be more of, once you have mastered embroidery, that may be more of an advanced thing that you can work on. But for a beginner, that's why we started on the front. So you will place your design where you want it. You're just going to lay it down, and then you are going to choose your hoop. Now this hoop is, I probably could have gone down a size. This is actually a 8-inch embroidery hoop. So I probably could have gone down to a 7 for this size. For this size I couldn't, I had to have an 8-inch. So the size of your embroidery hoop is going to depend on the size of your garment of clothing and the size of your design. So how to place this on, you're going to put your hoop up through the bottom of your garment, and then you would lay the top piece down. This screws and unscrews. So you're gonna lay this top piece down, pull it apart, and then lay it over top of the bottom piece. So with this, you need to make sure that you are not working around the pockets, because if there is any little bit of extra fabric when you are laying your embroidery hoop down, it's going to be a little harder to get it on. So make sure this goes on, push it down and around, and then we're just going to tighten this up. And then from there, you can pull your fabric tight. Normally it pulls it pretty tight. The hoop itself pulls your fabric fairly tight, so you a lot of times don't have to come back in and tighten it. But then you are going to be ready to start embroidering. And I'm going to show you our stitch on this half of our design. Once we have our design, I'm now going to teach you just this basic back stitch that we're going to be doing to create this. So when you are starting embroidery, you need to tie your ends off. Now I'm gonna probably put 2 or 3 knots in the end, just because with this one specifically, we will be washing these blue jeans, and I definitely do not want this knot to come undone. So normally I do 2, but today I'm definitely going to be doing 3. You could even do 4 if you really wanted to. That's going to be totally up to you. So now that we've got 3 knots in there, we've got a pretty good size piece of embroidery floss. We are going to thread our needle. Now this is something that if you are really good, you can do this yourself, or you can use a needle threader if your eyesight is not the best. So what you would do with a needle threader is you're just going to put this through the eye of your needle. Then you are going to put your embroidery floss through that loop, and then we're just going to pull it through. Now what I like to do is I like to pull the end of my floss pretty far down. That way I can keep shortening it as I go. So we've doubled our floss, and now we're going to start the process of embroidery. So what you're going to do is you're going to embroider along this line. So when you come up, you are going to come up on the line. Now you always need to come up through your fabric first. That way your knot is on the inside of your fabric. And then we're going to just come back down on this line. One thing that tends to help, especially to help not get our embroidery floss tangled, is to try to keep one end in your hand, because trust me, it will get tangled very easy, and it can be very frustrating when it does that. So once we have our first stitch, we are going to come back up on the line. As you can see, it's gotten tangled up and under here. One thing is, when you start out with a lot of embroidery floss, there is a good chance that it's going to get tangled, but that's okay. Just be easy, don't jerk it. So we're gonna untangle this real quick. Pull it on through, and then we're gonna go back right in the middle of this previous stitch, and then pull it through. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to continue coming up on the line, and back down through the middle of the previous stitch until you have completed your design. Now that we have completely finished with our embroidery, we are going to take our hoop off, and I'm going to show you guys how this material is water soluble and will come apart or come away. You can tear it away once you finish. So once you're done, what you're going to do is you are going to take your article of clothing and you are going to get it wet. And as you can see, this literally starts dissolving as it gets wet. And so you're just going to go through and pick all of that off. And really and truly, if you wanted to just throw these in the wash once you're done, you can do that. But I wanted you all to see on video how this is just water soluble and just comes away as soon as it gets wet. So once that's done, we're going to wring this out so we don't get the table so soaked. And then we will throw these in the wash and they will be done. But already you can see how cute these are and how fun for summer this would be. I hope that you all enjoyed that embroidery hack using your Cricut. I know I'm super excited about being able to use all of the Maker's Gonna Learn cut files and turning them into the pin function so that I can use them as a template for embroidery. If you are new to our channel, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel, and check out our website if you are interested in learning all about our education videos and cut files that we have available to you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
But for today, we're going to be doing an etching tutorial.
Super exciting, new-ish way of etching.
I want to like put it in quotations.
Etching.
So if you guys stay tuned, we're going to show you exactly what we mean by that. We are going to be doing a little mini Design Space tutorial. Lauren thought that the image we used today was a file, and I was like, no, I use fonts and images.
So I literally, I think you all are going to, your mind is going to be blown at this etching technique.
Yes.
But I also think that the real meat of this tutorial is going to be from learning how Alicia puts all of her, uses all of her different fonts and pairing fonts together to create what I thought was one of our cut files.
Yeah, so little Design Space tutorial in there for you, because the etching portion of this is so fast and so easy. It's gonna blow y'all's mind. You know, etching normally is a long, drawn out process.
Right.
Not today. Not today.
Not today.
So anyways, okay, this is what we made in yesterday's tutorial. These are 3D sublimation. Are you kidding me? I don't know if you guys are really, in real life, these look amazing, okay? They're gorgeous. They're like the prettiest tumblers I've ever seen in my life. So these are gonna be in the new files that we're releasing in the sublimation course. So if you already have purchased it, you are going to get these 3D sublimation files. They're beautiful. I'm obsessed. So I just wanted to show you those because they've been sitting around the office and I was like, I think they would really love to see those. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and jump into Design Space, and then we're going to go over the supplies after I show you all this little tutorial. So let's hop over into Cricut Design Space. I don't know if this computer has updated Design Space. It looks like it has. So Design Space is updated. Things are in weird order a little bit. Nothing crazy. It wasn't a huge update or anything, but I'm going to open up the file. This is the one I created, but we're going to be recreating this. So I actually used fonts and images from the Maker's Gonna Learn membership and created this image. So this just goes to show you, you don't have to use pre-made images. You can use some and kind of manipulate them to make them look how you want. So what we're gonna do is go get all of the fonts that we need and the images that we need. So let's go to makersgonnalearn.com. I'm gonna close out some of this stuff. Okay, so we are logged in. Once you get into the membership, if you're brand new here and you're like, what are you talking about? We are a membership-based crafting community. And whenever you sign up for the membership, you get access to these cut files and fonts. There are thousands upon thousands of all of it. So I'm going to go into our cut files and we're going to get our little football first, okay? You can use whatever football that your heart desires. We've got lots of different options. So I'm just going to search for footballs.
So real quickly, the 3D sublimation tumblers, the video got uploaded yesterday, correct?
Yes.
On how to create them?
Yes.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Miss P was asking.
Okay, yes, it came out yesterday. So I downloaded my little football right here. It's called American Football. The links are all in the description if you all need them. I'm going to open this zip folder, which is going to unzip my folder. This is going to give me access to the images that are inside of the folder. So you got to unzip it to open it up. I'm going to double click it, and you can see I've got a PNG and an SVG here. I am doing a cut image, so I need an SVG. So I'm just going to keep that there and open up Design Space. We're going to go to Upload on the left panel here. Go to Upload Image, and then I can go back to my Finder, and there's my SVG. Or if you're using a Windows, you can go back to your downloads, your recents. That's typically where it's going to live. And then I have my cut image, and I will upload that there. So select the image, and we're going to add it to our canvas. Okay, so here's our football. I like to get all my elements before I start designing, and then I can adjust as needed. Now, we need to get 3 different fonts. So let's go back to the Makers Gonna Learn website. I've got our fonts right here. Now, I know which fonts I want, but typically if you're looking for them and you're like, I really want a script font, you can go to this font style drop-down menu, and you can see there's script, you can see our newest fonts, monograms, yada, yada. There's lots of different options. But today we're gonna be using 3 different ones. And the first one is a newer font. It's called Giddy Up. I have not gotten a chance to use this font, and it is so cute. Look at that.
Yeah, I know. I love Giddy Up.
Me too. It's one of my favorites. So we're going to download that. It's going to pop into this zip folder. We're going to unlock the zip folder, and then you're going to need to double click this .otf. So you can see Giddy Up right here. Double click and install. Then I'm going to go back to our website. The next font we're going to need is Plain Jane. Okay, this one's super cute. Hit the download button, double click it to unzip it, double click it again, and install. Excuse me. And then we've got our third font, which is called Goldie. I don't know why I cannot remember the name of this font.
Is Plain Jane a newer one, or have we had it?
I feel like a couple months ago we got it.
Like, Plain Jane is a really good
blocky
plain, because sometimes you need plain.
You do. It's a font that I would go back to a lot.
Oh, for sure.
And use a lot, because it's like clean. It's gonna cut nicely because there's no like pattern in it. So yeah, that's a good one. Okay, we've got all of our fonts. Now, I just want to let y'all know on a little secret, and I don't know if it's a secret or if I don't know. But normally, whenever you upload fonts, you can go to View and Reload. Let me save my project first. I'm gonna save this. Normally, when I download fonts, I go to View and Reload, and all my fonts upload into Design Space. Okay, we've been doing this for like 2 years now, and it's been fine.
Right.
That's not working now. Let me just show you. Whenever I go, I'm going to type out.
Normally, Classy only does that when
if the font is not installed. So that font is Goldie. Let me show you all. I'm going to select this. So typically, if I go to my system fonts and I type in Goldie, my font's going to be here. Okay, it is here. Let me see if the other ones are here. Let's just look. Giddy Up. Okay. Yep, it's there. Let's see if Plain Jane. I don't know if we had that one installed. Yes, it worked. Okay. So on my computer, the past 2 days, it's making me, whenever I upload a font, it's making me completely close out Design Space and then reopen it.
Are you in beta, or are you in...
I shouldn't be in beta. I shouldn't be. I probably should double check that. But anyways, if you're having issues, like after you install the fonts, if you're refreshing your Design Space and your fonts aren't coming into your font book in Design Space, just restart Design Space. That's where I was going with all of that. So anyways, all of our fonts are in here, so good for us. I'm going to be using Goldie for our first font. And I'm going to actually move this out of the way and zoom in a little bit here. So classy until kickoff. Are y'all ready for football? I feel like August 1st, it's like, okay, it's go time.
It's go time. Recruitments should be about finished, fixing to start. I mean, I get it.
I'm ready. There. What is the first Vols game is September 1st, I think.
I think so.
I'm really excited about football. I just love football season, like that time of year.
I think it's like the crisp fallness, like the crispiness of the air of the morning, but then it warms up about kickoff time, and it's just something about it. I don't know.
I love it. It's just a good time of year.
So Gloria said that hers has been having issues too. Chrissy says, I find Design Space laggy recently.
Yes.
I personally tend to have the most issues with Design Space when Cricut does something new. I.e. come out with a new machine or try to update some stuff. Is when it tends to get like laggy until they work all the bugs out.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is, just FYI. And then Kathy says, beta, ? Y'all speak in a language I don't understand. So sometimes, or a lot of times, what will happen, beta is like a test version of Cricut Design Space. So
like when they do updates.
So when they do updates, and sometimes beta doesn't always give you, sometimes beta is a lot more laggy than the live version. So what happens, without trying to get too like scientific with you guys, but what happens when they roll new things out, or when before anything is released, not just Cricut Design Space, you have an alpha version, so the first version, which is just tested in-house. And then you have a beta version, which is then sent out to
a limited
amount of people, users, to try it out, and then they go on with the live version. So you can change Design Space to a beta version in your settings manually if you want to.
So sometimes we're like functioning in the beta version when we're trying to keep up with all the newest updates.
Yeah.
But I try to switch out because it's glitchy sometimes.
Right.
So, okay, so I've got this line of text, this line, and then this one. So we've got Goldie, Plain Jane, and then Giddy Up, and our football. Now, kickoff is on 2 lines. All I did was after kick, I hit enter and put off on another line. But you can see this huge gap in between here, and I really do not like having those gaps. So what I will typically do is select the text box. I'll go to advanced and ungroup to lines. And this gives me the freedom to move that bottom line of text wherever I want. And then right here, I can kind of bump these up so they fit nicely. I always, whenever I'm making designs, especially with words, I try to make the important words bigger. So you can see classy and kickoff are much bigger than until, because until is like not really relevant. I mean, it is to make the sentence, but classy is like, okay, classy, I put it in a script, and then kickoff is like, yee-haw. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of my design. If you guys are wondering my design thought process, that was it. And so now I'm just going to stretch this football a little bit bigger, kind of the height of the text, and I just tilted it a little bit. But I don't love that the text is just right overlapping all of this. So what I am going to do is move this guy to the side. I'm going to select all of this text, and we're going to add an offset.
Now this is where I really, really, really want you guys to pay attention.
Yes.
Super important to pay attention at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't want it, you can see this blue outline. This is where our offset's gonna land. That is way too big for me. I'm gonna do like a 0.15. Even that's a little big for me. Let's do 0.13. Oh, that's perfect. Actually, 0.1. That feels better.
That feels right.
Yes. So now what I'm gonna do is hit apply. Okay? You're like, what are you doing? Now what we're gonna need to do, I'm just gonna drag our little football over here, just nestle it up right behind our text. Okay, while my football is selected in my layers panel, I'm going to select my offset layer. Okay. I have both layers selected. And then we're gonna go slice. Are you about to say something?
Nope.
Okay, and now I'm gonna get rid of all of these slice results. Now you can see over here in the panel where everything is living. Okay, this is what you're left with. So you can see, we can see our text much better now, and our little football is out here. Now the only other thing that I wanna do with this image right here is, do you see these little dots like in between the letters? I don't like that. So I'm gonna select just my football, and I'm gonna go to my contour function down here on the bottom, and I'm gonna click on those, and that's gonna get rid of them on my canvas. Okay, you can see they're lighter than the other ones, and then we're gonna X off of that, and that is my whole image. So now the only thing that we need to do next is make it a cohesive image. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this. What I'm gonna do for this specific image is select everything and attach it. Okay, I'm just gonna attach everything. So now you can see under this attach, everything is all together. We could also technically unite it, but it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. So I'm going to attach it. Now, before we cut anything, before we do any of that, I'm gonna need to make sure that my sizing is correct. So let's go overhead. I've got my wine glass. I've used a stemless wine glass for the other one. This is just a stemmed wine glass that we had. Can y'all see that good? Okay. Now, working with wine glasses is different because there's a curved surface. Now, we're not using stencil vinyl like ordinarily we would use stencil vinyl or permanent vinyl and etching cream. We are using a type of adhesive vinyl today, okay? So I'm gonna be needing to measure my surface and keeping in my mind that we are putting vinyl on a curved surface. So there's potential for bubbles and stuff. So we don't wanna be measuring from the very top all the way down here. That's not where we wanna measure. I wanna stay up near this flat surface as much as I can to prevent bubbling around the edges of my vinyl. So I'm gonna try to stick with like honestly, I'm gonna start my zero right where I would want my vinyl to start. So I'm pulling my zero line right there and say, let's not go any taller than 3 inches. Okay, so back in design space, I've got my image selected, it's locked, and I'm gonna change my height to 3.
So while she is also doing that, I know we've had a lot of people that are, yes, love the hacks. Some people are saying, I'm lost, totally new, rookie. So this is if you are a complete rookie, what we have done today in creating this and pairing fonts and everything else is a little bit more of I would think, on the advanced side of design space. But the good part about this is you all can always go back and rewatch this as many times as you want to get it figured out.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So if I sped through that a little too fast, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. But you can go watch it, like Lauren was saying, as many times as you need to get the hang of it. Once you do it a few times, especially this technique, I feel like it's very easy to catch on to.
Yes.
Like after you do it, you're like, oh yeah, okay. Basically all we're doing is creating an offset on our text and then slicing the offset out of our image. Okay, that's the simple way to put it. So now I just resized my image. Everything is attached together. We're 3 inches in height. And now all we need to do is go to make it. Now I'm just gonna actually delete our old image. This was our old one. We'll just delete him. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to make it. All right. Now, before we go to cut anything, let's go over what you're gonna need to actually etch this, because we're about to start using the secret product we haven't told you about yet. So let me show you all. This is the original one that I made. Okay, it looks beautiful and etched, right? Like I feel like this looks perfectly etched with etching cream. This was not. So we actually used permanent frosted Cricut premium vinyl. This is just like an opaque vinyl, y'all. Let me show you what it looks like when you kind of peel it off. So it is Cricut brand. I don't know that there's other brands I'm sure there's other brands that sell this opaque permanent frosted vinyl, but this Cricut brand is really good. I'm trying to get the edge up for y'all so you can see what it looks like.
But this is an absolute great way to get the etching effect, especially if you are sensitive to chemicals.
Yes, yes. And with me being pregnant, I feel like this is a great alternative for someone. If you're a pregnant crafter or if you have other sensitivities, you can see this is the frosted side right here. So it's still like a little see-through. But it gives that perfect etching effect. So all you're gonna need.
It even kind of feels like it has it has the same similar feeling to etching.
Yes, it does. It has
a texture feel.
Yeah, it's not smooth like normal vinyl. It's very much a textured vinyl. So I just need a small little section of this. You are gonna need I won't say need. I will say need lightly. You should use a strong grip transfer tape to transfer this vinyl. I think because it's a little bit thicker and because it's textured, the strong grip works better. But I'm using a medium to strong tack transfer tape. And this brand, let me tell you, I don't use this a lot, but it felt stickier than the other stuff that we normally use. Frisco Craft. This is from Frisco Craft. If we can go overhead, y'all can see.
Is that not the HCV transfer stuff?
Yeah, very well could be. It doesn't feel like our medium tack.
Okay.
But this is what I used and it worked really well.
Okay.
I could have been better off using a stronger Cricut transfer tape, honestly, but we didn't have any on hand whenever I was making it. So this worked and I was like, you know what? We're going to use what we have because we tell y'all to do that all the time.
So we've already had the question that you knew you would have.
What?
Is it dishwasher safe? Or is it washable?
Okay.
So what we're gonna do, because we have been super busy little bees here in the craft room this week, what we will do is, I actually may go run and do that now, stick it in the dishwasher for you guys.
Yeah.
And then come back to tomorrow's live and we'll show you the results.
Yeah, or we can stick it in after the live, whatever you want to do. I meant to do it this morning, and I even put it on my to-do list. I put it in my journal, and I was like, I'm gonna put that in the in the dishwasher so we can test it. But y'all, I did a testing 10 plus vinyls video. I don't know when that comes out. Thursday?
I don't know.
Okay, we tested and dishwasher tested 10 vinyls. Okay, that's coming out Thursday, I think. So that was a pretty cool video.
I mean, really and truly, rule of thumb, it's already been said in the comments, handmade equals hand wash. That is going to up the longevity. Yes, you're going to be able to wash it. You're going to be able to hand wash it for sure.
Okay, so I put my vinyl on my mat. I put vinyl side up. So you can see this is the backer for this vinyl. I've got the vinyl side up, okay? So this is just standard adhesive vinyl. And then back in Design Space, you can see our design fits in this top left corner, and then we're going to select Continue. Okay, I'm using the Explore 3 today, and with this being a Cricut brand of vinyl, they actually have cut settings for this specific permanent frosted vinyl, which is really nice. Okay, maybe. Let's type in frosted. Here we go, here we go. Okay, premium vinyl, frosted, opaque. This is exactly what we're using. I'm gonna hit done. And we're just using a fine point blade on default pressure, and we can go ahead and load this into our Cricut. Okie dokie, I'm so excited for y'all to see this. I love this. This is hands down, my new favorite way to etch, hands down. Because I don't want to fool with like chemicals. I will say like real etching is definitely going to be a little bit more permanent.
I'm on the real etching train still yet, but I'm also not pregnant.
Yes, and like I like to do, I'm still going to want to do real etching projects.
But this is beautiful.
Yes.
And I was shocked how well it did come out, I will say that.
Yes, I am too. It really looks very real. I'll show you all again a close-up of this is what we are making. All right, my stuff cut. I'm gonna make sure before I pull it off of my mat that it cut. So I like to do this all the time. I just take a weeding tool and try to pull up some of my centers of my letters and make sure that they have cut before I remove it, because if I unload it and try to cut it again, it may cut off a little bit. And if I needed to cut it again, I could just hit the go button again and it would go. But it cut just fine. And so now I'm gonna weed everything that I don't need. So I'm just gonna start up here in the corner.
Ours is not estimated to get here until the 4th.
Ugh, that's not fair.
I know.
Well, when is that? Is that Friday?
Yeah.
I won't even be here. I gotta get my head in the screen because I can't see. I can't hardly see to weed this. So I'm just so sorry you have to look at the back of my head for a second.
I'm not seeing it yet.
Okay.
All right. That's weeded. So y'all cannot see that. I'll hold it
All
up.
you can see is white.
Sorry, yeah, I know. I love Cricut vinyl mainly. I don't love all Cricut vinyl, but some Cricut vinyls I love because of the backer. It's not paper, so it doesn't stick to my mat. Just a little thing.
I don't know if you can still see.
Still, okay. Just a little bit, okay.
I think there's some centers that I didn't pluck out.
Tina says why?
So I'm cleaning my surface with rubbing alcohol right now to make sure that it's completely clean. You need to do this with all surfaces before you apply vinyl. And I've got it sitting on a burnishing tool. This is just holding my cup kind of in place. And then I'm just gonna cut a small piece of this transfer tape. This is very possibly heat transfer tape, but you know what? It works for me.
While it may not be, I don't know. While everybody, I know that I feel like a lot of people are saying, oh no, why not a Maker 3? We don't necessarily, we still love a Maker 3.
Yeah.
Don't get us wrong. Please don't take that the wrong way. However, when you're looking at the price of a Maker 3 and you're looking at the price of an original Maker, if you've not bought one, and now if you plan on using smart material, then yes, you have to get a Maker 3 or an Air 3.
But y'all know how we feel about smart material.
But smart material is, meh.
Yeah.
What
right.
you looking for now?
I need a burnishing tool. I'll just use the one I'm using. So I'm gonna burnish this down really good on the front, and then I'm gonna flip it over and do the same on the back. This is why strong grip transfer is gonna come in good handy for y'all. If you've got it on hand, you won't have to burnish as much. Okay, so just burnishing it down. What I'm gonna do is I am going to trim around my design very closely. Okay, and y'all will see why here in just a second. I'm gonna leave like maybe a 1/2 inch all the way around. And then what I'm gonna do, before I go to apply this is our little wine glass vinyl application hack. I'm going to cut slits, little tiny slits all around. Now, y'all are probably like, why? So whenever you apply vinyl to a curved surface, it likes to create these bubbles, and it kind of places the letters in like weird wonky spots. But these allow me to pull everything taut without creating more bubbles, if that makes sense. So I'm just cutting little slits. Now I want to use all of these little pulls to pull it taut, but I like to have them already cut. That way, whenever I get it onto my cup, it's already cut all the way around. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I've got my wine glass. Can y'all see? And then I'm just gonna pull my backing off, and everything should come with my transfer tape. So be very careful. It gets a little crazy when you're trying to remove this backer and you've got all these slits though, so just be leery. Maybe, here we go. Now, don't do me dirty like this, transfer tape. Hold on a second.
What's happening?
It just won't come off of the backer.
Oh, the vinyl one?
Yeah, it doesn't want, it will, because I did it. I done it, and it worked just fine. I may start, sometimes I like to start, like I'm gonna start with this football edge because it's a longer, smoother edge.
And sometimes it's good just to get a little start. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Bobby. So now what I'm going to do is line this up. I'm kind of making sure that everything is straight based off of the top rim of the glass. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of apply this in somewhat of a taco method. Okay, so I'm just pushing down this middle, and then I'm going to work my way out. Okay. Now, I'm just working this side out first. All right, and then I'm gonna work my way over to the left side. The more you do these wine glasses, the easier this is, but it can be kind of wonky at first. And so your transfer tape will tend to kind of bubble up, but it's okay because it's just the transfer tape. As long as our design is going down somewhat flat, we're all good. And we can also go in and fix any bubbles that we have, and I'm going to show you all how I do that as well. So I'm going to apply it with my finger, and then I'm going to go in with a burnishing tool and try to lay everything down really good, okay? Like I said, if the transfer is bumpy, no big deal. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove our transfer tape. And I can already see some areas that are going to need some help. We can fix those. Okay. And so I can go in with my finger and work out any bubbles. Any small bubbles. Now there are going to be areas like this in the O where I'm going to have to take my weeding tool and kind of get up under there. Try to be very careful and not stretch your vinyl when you're doing this. But you also want to get that flat. So I like to kind of lift it up and work out the kink, okay? Got to be very careful not to stretch it. So this is probably more of a downside to not using etching cream. But once you get good at laying that vinyl down, then you won't have as many issues. You can even take your burnishing tool and go over some of those bubbles. So I am just fidgeting with this O. I don't love how it looks. But it's on that curved surface, so you can know that's why it just didn't land right. So I'm trying to pull it up without stretching. You gotta be very careful because you will stretch this vinyl out so easy. Just pulling it up, pulling it up. This whole edge is jacked up. Okay. And then I'm just gonna flatten it back down with my thumb. Okay, and then you can go back in with your burnishing tool. Make sure everything is down. And there you have it. Now the O, I'm not super satisfied with that O. I could always recut and reapply though, which is great. The great thing about this vinyl, it looks consistent too. Like sometimes when you etch, if the glass is not good, you'll have inconsistencies in the etching, but here you're not gonna have as much. So can y'all see that good?
Yeah.
And that's it, that's it. Okay, love it. Here.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel. In this video, I'm gonna be teaching you all how to take Cricut basswood and make an oversized wooden sign. Now, this can be a sign with a name that can go over a baby's crib or in your child's bedroom. You can make it a last name to be a decorative piece in your home. There are so many different ways that you can go with this. I am actually going to be making this sign today for Ruby's Little Play Coffee Company. So that is what we're going to be doing. The results are absolutely amazing and I really think you're going to enjoy this. So let's go overhead and talk about the supplies that you're going to need. Let me start off by saying this project is for our friends that have a Maker or a Maker 3, and that is because you are going to need a Cricut knife blade to complete this project. We are going to be cutting Cricut basswood, specifically the 1.6 millimeter basswood. So you are going to have a Cricut knife blade or have a machine that has the ability to use an adaptive tool for this project. Next up, we have the Cricut basswood. This is a great material to use if you are wanting to create wooden projects. We love using Cricut basswood, but with the Cricut basswood, you are going to have a strong grip mat because this is a very thick material. But on top of the strong grip mat, you're also going to need painter's tape, and that is to tape your material down when your knife blade is cutting. There's actually a couple things we're going to be using the painter's tape for. So painter's tape is very, very important for this project. Masking tape, painter's tape, either one will work. We just prefer the Scotch Blue painter's tape. Next up, you are going to need some type of super glue. We love using the DAP Rapid Fuse because it truly only takes about 30 seconds for this to hold our project together. Now, something that we don't have on the table that you may want to have is some wood filler just to fill in your seams if you need it. If not, I think the DAP will do just fine. And then finally, I do have a sanding block, and this is to sand your letters once they are cut by your machine, and a true control knife because you are going to be cutting your tape and it's going to just come in really handy. So here in Design Space, you can see we have our Little Babes Coffee Co. already sized here, but I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to do that from start to finish. The two fonts that we're going to be using is Vintage Jeans, and then this one is Fierce Sights. These are Maker's Gonna Learn fonts, and I'm going to show you how we can download those into Design Space. And on top of that, if you are not a Maker's Gonna Learn member, you can sign up for free, grab your free trial to our website. We are a membership site where we bring you thousands of cut files, hundreds of fonts, and new fonts and cut files every month, as well as inspiration, education, and motivation to get your Cricut out and start learning how to use it. Now, the two fonts that we're going to be using is Fierce Sights. So all we have to do is type in Fierce. This is the one here. To download the font, what we're going to do is click that arrow pointing down. And the next one is Vintage Jeans. So we're just going to search for this one as well. And then once again, to download, you are going to click the arrow pointing down. Now, one thing I want to make clear with this project, you do have to have a font that is thicker. Now, Vintage Jeans is not super thick, but it is thick enough that we can make it work. And it's really going to depend on what type or what your sign is going to say. So if we go back to our fonts, I'll give you some examples of what fonts will work and what fonts will not. So if you want all of your letters to be together, obviously a font like this that is not a cursive font is not going to work. It will work, but you're going to have to place every letter separately. If you want a cursive font, I will show you. Let's go to our styles and we will go to hand lettered because a lot of hand lettered is cursive fonts. So some examples of some good fonts to use and not good fonts. First of all, Willpower. I love this font by itself. For this project, this font will not work. It is a very thin font and it's just not going to be one that works very well. Now, coming on down, Joyful has areas that are very thick. It does have thinner areas, but it does have very thick areas. This one would be a perfect font for this. Max Patch, even better. So, Betty B, absolutely not. So the font that you choose for this project does matter. Once again, you need to choose something that has a thicker area to work with rather than something that is skinny all the way through. Tulip, way too skinny. Up in the Air, definitely could work. So once you have chosen your fonts and you've downloaded them onto your computer, we're going to come up here to the right hand side. We are going to unzip both of our fonts. That was our first one. Unzip our second one. Once those are unzipped, we're going to double click them, install them onto our computer. And then from there, once you have them installed, we're gonna go back to Design Space. If you are working on something, make sure that you save your project. And then for Design Space to recognize the new fonts that you've uploaded onto your computer, you're gonna go to View and reload Design Space. We're gonna save our project. And then what's gonna happen is it is going to now recognize all of those new fonts that you have downloaded. So once we have reloaded, what we are going to do is we are going to start typing out our words. So I'm going to, let's just go ahead and we're just going to hide all of this and we will start from the beginning. Now, you may be wondering, Lauren, what is that square right there? That is very important. I will get to that. Let's kind of scoot over to the side and let's start adding our fonts and our words. So we're going to grab a text box. I'm going to go to our system fonts. Our first one was Vintage Jeans. Here we are going to make it pretty large, and then we are going to type in Little Babes. Leave it like that for right now. Another text box. We are going over to Fierce Sights for this one, and this one is going to say Coffee Co. And then bring that down and size that up as well. That is a little large. So you need to measure the area that you are working with. For example, if I wanted to put something, which of course this is not a good representation because it is, we do have these lines on this board, but let's just say I wanted to put something that would fit all the way across. You need to measure that area. So let's just say, for example, this was the area. We're looking at about 35 inches, and then you want to know about how tall you want it to be. So let's say, 35 by 12 may be what you're looking at. So what you're gonna do, you'll go back into Design Space. Here you can see we're right around 21 inches in length right here. So we need to, if we were wanting to fit it within the 35, you would scale it up and then scale up your other as well. Now, it is going to be, the next step is very important. Remember I said that this was important, that we needed to bring this in and really double check that. This is because this 6 by 12 square is a representation of our 6 by 12 piece of basswood. Now, if you can find the thick Cricut basswood in larger than 6 by 12, then obviously you have more room to work with. But for this, certain parts of certain fonts will have to fit within the 6 by 12. For example, this L probably just needs to be by itself. And when we zoom in, we see that the L is not going to fit on that 6 by 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to size it down just enough so that that L will fit on the 6 by 12 piece of basswood. And you're probably gonna have to zoom in a little more. Now, right now, my eye is within that space. That's okay. I'm gonna show you how we can fix that. But I would probably size it down just a little bit more to be on the safe side. And I think that will work, okay? Now let's zoom back out. I wanna double check my B as well. So I'm gonna bring this over. My B fits perfectly within the 6 by 12. So we have our little babes sized how we want it, how large we want it. And now you want to size your Coffee Co to fit the same. Once you have done that, we are going to pull the Coffee Co down, and I'm going to come back up here, double click this, and I'm going to separate the second half of the word little from the L, also separate from the B. Now I'll have to zoom out some more. And this is very important. And then separate the B from babes, Okay, so it's going to look like this. Just bear with me. From this portion, we are going to go to advanced and ungroup to lines. So now we have the L, the second half of little, the B by itself for babes, and here. But they are all the same size font. And that is why we size it before we ungroup to lines. Very important. So our L we know is gonna fit on our 6 by 12 piece of basswood. Our B is going to fit as well. And then Coffee Co, what I would do, and I'll show you exactly what I would do to that later, but we also know that all of those letters will fit somehow on there as well. So the next part is we have to figure out how to fit little babes on here. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to separate your words. Now, this one in particular, I actually could fit these if I rotated this 90 degrees. These will fit on this 6 by 12 piece of basswood. But if you run into an issue where it doesn't fit on the 6 by 12, I want to show you how you need to separate your lettering. So, and this is why it is very, very important for you to have a thicker font. So I'm going to zoom in, and we can see that probably need to separate this between the T and the L, but like I don't want this part of the L out by itself. I want the L and the E to be attached together, but I also want to slice it in a thicker area of the font. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to rotate this just a little bit, bring it over, and here you can see that if I slice this here, the L and the E will stay together, right? And then the ITT over here, plus a little bit of the L, will also be together. So before I slice it, I'm going to duplicate this rectangle over here, and then I'm going to select both of these and slice. Okay? So we need to get rid of that, and then this is over here. So what's gonna happen is when the basswood is cut, it's going to cut this, and then it's going to cut this as well. And then we can come back in and wood glue these back together. Okay, so that is why it is important for you to choose a thicker font. Now, like I said earlier, I could very easily take the easy route with this, rotate this 90 degrees, and you can see that this half of the word, it actually fits on the 6 by 12 piece of basswood. So like I said, if your font fits, great, you can do it that way. If it doesn't, this is how you want to slice it, and I'm gonna show you how to reattach it later on. So again, I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it with the babes portion. So I'm just going to fit it here. You can zoom in, have it sliced at an area that is, you know, a pretty decent area to slice at. You never want to slice something like that where you're cutting off this portion of the A or the E. You want to slice at a junction of your text like that, and then come in here and select them both and slice. From there, you can get rid of your other unwanted sections, and you have all of your words separated where they need to be, but can still attach. And here you can see we'll bring the B back in for babes. We'll bring the L back in for little, and you can see it still lines up beautifully. Now, if you do decide to cut a non-script or a non-cursive font like this where none of the letters are touching, my best advice to you is to go ahead and go to advanced once you have your sizing correct and ungroup to letters. what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to really move and manipulate your letters around to get the most out of the area that you are working on. Once you have done all of that, you are ready to go to make it. Once you have hit make it, normally you can change your material size. There is not a 12 by 6 that you can change it to, but we know that we have to fit this within the 6 by 12 area. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually going to select both of these. I'm gonna move these to mat 2 for the time being because I don't want them on this first mat. And I am going to go back to mat 1. I'm gonna move this one as well to mat 2. And I'm just going to start cutting the letters that I know that I need, which is 2 O's and 2 F's. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I did already cut a good majority of this because it does take so long. But what I did is, for example, this is an O and I also need that O. I'm gonna move those back to the first one. So what I did is I manipulated all of my letters. For example, I moved this F like down. You can do this and make them fit better that way if you want to. But I moved as many things as I could to the mat to cut. So if I needed to cut again, I could go back to 2. And let's say I needed to cut the second half of the ES in the babes. I can move this back to 1 and just make sure that it fits within the 6-inch mark, which you can see here it does. It's all about manipulation of your layers. So we can fit this in here, and let's say if we need to go back, you know, you can grab the E's, whatever, but you are going to cut all of the words. And what I did is I kept moving them back and forth to mat 1. And once I was done cutting, I would move everything here to mat 2 and what I needed to mat 1. So that is just how I worked around that. Because there is not a 6 by 12 material size, you all can make it work however you want. I'm gonna move this one back to 2 because I do not need to cut it. And then from here, we are going to cut the rest of the sign that we need. So what I'm doing is I'm laying my basswood down on my mat, and before I send it to my machine, I'm going to make sure that I add my painter's tape to make sure it stays down. Now this is some pretty thick painter's tape. I would highly suggest getting the thinner painter's tape. This is just what we have. So I'm just gonna make sure that this gets taped down really well. And then if it is over a little bit on your mat, you can either trim it off or you can fold it over to trim it off. You can just take your true control knife and run it along the edge of your mat right here, cutting the excess off. But you do want to make sure you tape all the way around, sides and the top and the bottom. Once you have done that and it is taped down really well, what we are going to do over here in our machine, we are going to take our fine point blade out, and we're gonna go ahead and add in our knife blade because we know that we're gonna need our knife blade for this. And then in design space, I'm gonna hit continue, browse material, and I'm going to search basswood, and we are using the 1.6 millimeter or the 1/16 of an inch thick. We're gonna select done. It is going to prompt you to use your knife blade, and then over here, we're also gonna have to move our star wheels all the way over to the side because the star wheels are going to snag on that basswood if they are where it is gonna be going through your machine. Once we have done that, we are going to load in our mat and then press the flashing Cricut button. Now, just a reminder, this does have a very long cut time, and we're only cutting 2 O's, 2 F's, and a little period. So keep that in mind. If you have a lot more on your mat to cut, it is going to have quite a long cut time. Currently, we are looking at 13 minutes for that to finish cutting. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and go overhead and let me show you exactly how to place your letters together. So here you can see we have our little babes separated exactly where we sliced it in Design Space, and I'm going to show you exactly how to place these back together so that we can hang them on the wall. First thing you're going to want to do is grab some tape. Now, I'm just going to use painter's tape today because I feel like it's going to give me the best results and just hold it in place, and really that's all we're looking at this to do, is just be a placeholder for us. So I'm just going to lay that down here, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my second half of my letters, and I'm going to line it up here on the tape so that it fits together. Now, after I've done that, I'm just going to come in with my True Control knife, and I'm going to cut the excess of this tape like that. Cut that there, and then cut down here. Now, if you want to, you can come back in here and trim this up a lot better. I'm actually going to be taking this tape off in a little after I glue it anyway, after tomorrow, after it completely dries. So it's not that big of a deal. You just want it to hold it together and be able to bend and open up. So once again, I'll show you, and I'll just take a piece of this tape here that I had extra from the top portion. We're going to do the same thing with the babes. We're going to lay that down, and then we are going to place the B and the E together, line it up, and then we're just going to cut this excess here. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to add some DAP glue on this seam. And our DAP glue is, the lid is glued shut, so I'm gonna take a weeding tool. Y'all know us around here, work smarter, not harder, waste not, want not. So I'm not wasting this DAP glue. I'm just taking it and running it along this seam. And then I'm going to hold it together. Yes, there is some excess glue here, but we're just gonna wipe that off. And this is a fast drying glue, so we don't have to sit and wait. We just have to sit and hold this together, and it will hold. What I love about this glue so much is that it really does hold in about 30 seconds or so. You should be able to let go and then let it finish curing. And you can see it held pretty well already. So we're just gonna let that sit and let that cure some more, and then we can come back in and sand that off. So now we're gonna do the same thing to this bottom portion. Just gonna grab some, run it along here. Now you don't have to use DAP glue. You can use super glue. I have used Gorilla super glue before. That has worked really well. So once again, not with your finger. Do not spread this glue with your finger. Use a paper towel and hold it together for about 30 seconds. Once your glue has dried, you may just want to come back in here with a sanding block and just sand that off, because when we go to add paint, we're definitely going to want this area sanded pretty well. Y'all, what do you think? This is such a fun project, and I love how I can take one big word and slice it up into more digestible pieces and then put it back together so that we can make a beautiful piece of wall art. If you plan on recreating this, drop me in the comments what you plan on doing. And if you're new here, make sure you hit that thumbs up on this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell notification so that you can get notified every time we get crafty. Not only that, if you want to recreate this and use the fonts that we use today, make sure you click that first link down below. We have a free 7-day trial for you guys where you get 20+ downloads from our website. You get to try us out for free. You can determine whether we are the right fit for you, but I really think that once you get in there, you're going to absolutely love it. I mean, what do you have to waste? It's free, right? Make sure you click that link down below. Check us out, free for 7 days. And once again, let me know what you plan on making with your Cricut knife blade and basswood. I will see you guys in the next one.